and the brand new ones we planted, they were twigs. The next day, he came back, ate the rest of them that was in the driveway waiting to plant. Well, luckily they survived, but man, it was like they were eating large, you know.
Well, that's. I mean, I know that all the studies here in Michigan say that the red-tailed or the white-tailed deer is our worst farm pest.
Yeah.
So it's I know that actively working about that.
Evening, guys. You all right?
Hey, Martin.
Yeah. Hey, Martin.
Hello there.
You all right? Yeah. You had a good Christmas?
It's
Actually,
good.
good morning, Martin. Right?
Have you had Christmas yet?
But having Christmas all week, dude. What you talking about?
I just need to check on the time zones, you see. It's no point in me saying Merry Christmas to everybody if yours hasn't actually arrived yet.
It's not that far delayed.
Yeah, it's actually morning for him, Martin, too. 12 o'clock there in the morning.
Well, at least it's still 2020 for him.
Won't be soon.
Good evening, starch maker. That's Kim.
Hi,
I'll
Tim.
go get it so I can show you how much I ended up with. Hold on.
Nobody's going to shoot me with my antlers, are they?
No.
Oh no.
I'd keep an eye out for Andy though.
There you go.
No, I haven't shot a deer in over 6 years.
I shot one a couple
this
years
was-
ago.
Away from it.
This was about 7 or 8 small, medium potatoes worth of starch. Potato
Wow.
starch.
All right, so after
Not bad.
So do
You
cook
definitely
the,
get
you cook the potatoes and then you make starch water from them, and then how do you dry it to get to that point?
I'm sorry, go ahead, buddy froze. My internet.
No, it's mine. It might be mine. So how do you? I mean, you made the starch water from the potatoes. How'd you put? Did you boil them?
No, you don't boil them. I just cut them up and peeled them, cut them up in cubes, rinsed them off really good, threw them in my Vitamix and pureed them. And then I have potato sacks that I squeeze the water out. The more you wash, they call it wash. Of course, you don't drain the water because that's where your starch is.
Right.
The more you wash the potatoes, the more starch you get out. But since I pureed mine, like it was a lot easier. I only had to do 2 washes. And then you just let the water that you wash the potatoes with, and I use my potato sacks to strain them and squeeze it all out. You just let the water settle for about an hour, hour and a half, and then dump the water out. And at the very bottom, you have your starch. And then I scoop that out and then put it in a baking pan, put it in my toaster and put it at a low temperature and just let it dry out. And then put it in my coffee grinder to turn it into powder because it kind of dries in clumps.
Oh, cool.
And then you use it the same way you would cornstarch, but it's a good way to get starch from stuff that those potatoes had eyeballs all over them. They were starting to get smushy. They were, they were going bad. We didn't get to eat them before so I figured, well, instead of planting them, I could make some potato starch. And my son wants dumplings, like steamed dumplings. And my husband bought me a big old wok setup for Christmas because I've always wanted to do some like Chinese cuisine stuff.
Yep.
So he bought me the big propane setup, the big wok, like the 18-inch one.
Cool.
So now I have potato starch to make the dumpling papers, and then stuff it with cat or dog. No, I'm kidding.
And it's almost top
We
of
got
the hour.
plenty
Welcome
of
to the
stray
Worldwide
cats, so.
Cooking Show.
Yes.
Oh.
Know that old book, 101 Ways to Walk Your Dog.
That's it, walk your dog.
Walk your dog.
Walk your dog.
Yeah, the
Little
biggest
cooking
tendency
book.
anytime I ever make Chinese is I put too much soy sauce in it. And it makes it way too salty. And if you watch these shows, they put like
Yeah.
a tablespoon for a whole meal. And I'm like, so you got to figure it out someday. 'Cause I love Chinese.
Well, you get your other flavoring through like oyster sauce or
Fish sauce.
the Chinese one. Yeah, the oyster sauce. That's where you get a lot of your flavor. But you can get dark soy sauce, and dark soy sauce is less salty and it has more flavor.
Okay.
So if you get dark soy sauce instead, you can add more of it without having to be so salty, but it's there for like color and flavor. But
Right.
oyster sauce is the way to go because that gives you that good flavor.
You can also just lightly spice up your oil that you're cooking it in too.
Yeah, like you get chilies. You can fry your chilies and ginger and garlic in that oil.
Yep.
And that works. So I tried out some Thai chilies one time, and I toasted them outside because that was so potent. And I decided, I was going to grind it up and make powder. Don't do that. Don't do that. Not inside. My husband couldn't even come help me. I'm screaming in the kitchen because it just makes this, it just goes in the air and it's so fine that it's like mace. It's like mace being sprayed in your lungs, in your eye, like snot's dripping out of my nose. I can't open my eyes. They're swollen this big already. I'm drooling. I'm screaming. God help me. And my husband comes around the corner because he's like, what the heck is going on? And he hits a wall of like pepper spray. And he's like, I'm sorry, I can't. I had to go in the shower and just take a hot shower just to get it off of me and out of me because I was breathing it. So don't do your own Thai chili peppers into powder at home. It was a bad idea, and it'll probably do the same. You'll have boogers coming out of places.
Hazmat level 4, eh?
Yeah, like you need all the masks in the world on, like over your eyeballs too. You need like a mask for your eyeballs and your nose nostrils. Shove something in there so nothing gets in there. Yeah, the crazy things that I've seen online and did. Some worked out and some not so much.
Yeah, I had a brain fart earlier this week. I had a craving for burritos and didn't have any sauces for it, so I decided I should make my own. But I didn't have some of the main ingredients, and it was a disaster. So I ate it anyway.
Me and my friends used to make our own sauce out of we would just pour soy sauce, teriyaki, barbecue sauce, ketchup, and we just mix it all up, whatever. And we're like, all right, now we're gonna dip a bagel sandwich with bologna and mayonnaise into it and see how it tastes.
Wrap it in bacon, it'll always work.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't even understand what we were trying to be culinary experts this was without YouTube though, y'all. So these ideas came out of our heads without any help.
Yeah, I had some friends that made some hot sauce. They used to smoke the peppers and stuff. And I like basically like a low end cayenne based smoke. I like vinegary. And so I always get a bottle a week, and I was real happy with that. I got a local guy here. They do a cilantro version of it. So kind of like a Mexican with cilantro. If you love cilantro, it just, I love it. And I mean, I go through half a bottle on a burrito. You know, it gets a little expensive.
Wow.
I enjoy it. So I don't like anything, not the jalapeno, the habanero, the ghost. That's just nuts.
Here we go.
I mean,
If
it has flavor,
it
maybe.
makes me have heartburn.
But the habaneros can get powerful.
That's crazy.
No,
It just
Pretty good.
I mean, I'll try anything once, but it just, you burn yourself, and I'm like, that's no fun. To me, at least,
Yeah. You lose your taste for a week and your tongue feels like it's burnt all off. So yeah. I like peppers with flavor.
Yeah. Well, the pepper sauce, has flavor. Yeah. Not just, I mean, cayenne, I got one cayenne. It's always hot. I mean, you put a little bit on, it's just too much. I like flavor.
That's why I like smoked paprika. It's flavorful.
Yeah.
And then it's very minimal heat. Yeah. And I put it on everything. That and those adobo chilies you get with the adobo sauce because they have the smoked flavor in them.
Right.
But they're not too hot. I put that in my chili, and oh my gosh, it is so delicious.
Yeah.
But I probably have a hoarded amount of those in my cabinet because I'm afraid one day they're just not going to have them.
Oh yeah.
I hoard food. I'm a food hoarder in this house. That and wood.
Are you a prepper?
Well, sort of. I mean, if you count the 5 big buckets of freeze-dried food we got, yeah.
Yeah. There you gotta be,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing is with all this COVID stuff, is had to start rationing stuff, like you'd be happy with whatever you get, dried beans and stuff, and yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We eat dried beans like crazy as it is. So I always have those on hand. You know, canned foods always have on hand. We can our own sweet potatoes when we grow them. Usually we get a pretty good harvest, but yeah, we're always kind of already on that.
That's
roll.
good. You can cycle them through that way.
Yeah. I
I'm gonna
wanted to get a
throw-
freeze
I'm gonna-
dryer, but they're so expensive, and but they're the most, you get your most of your money out of a freeze dryer. Like,
Yep.
but they're
Especially
so
if you've
damn
got a meat
expensive.
source like deer.
Yeah, they're ungodly
Yeah.
amount. I was looking at them too.
Yeah, they're like $3,000-$4,000, but you have to have your own line, and it takes a pretty good amount of space. But the cool thing about it is you can freeze dry your leftovers. So say you make chicken and dumplings and you have leftovers, which never happens at my house. Just saying. Then you can freeze dry your leftover chicken and dumplings, and then there you have a meal for camping or fishing, whatever, you know. And it's one of the most ergonomical, like, and money saving, and the food lasts forever. Like, I don't know, I think they were saying that one guy was like eating meat from like 40 years ago. It was freeze dried. I mean, that one guy on YouTube that eats all the MREs from like 1800s.
Yeah.
Of course that's not freeze dried, it's canned, but still. Anyway,
Okay, I got to take us to wood turning. Jay's got a question. Hey, Jay,
Hey, Guy.
what you got, buddy?
Well, okay. On the Wolverine jig, who has one?
I do.
I do.
Okay.
I do.
The
I've
big
got the
the
true
rod
grind, but it's close.
for like your spindle gouges and or not your spindle gouges, but your bowl gouges and whatnot. I'm struggling with how do I put this? Getting the right length. If I go between tools, I've tried using a magic marker to mark my spot. I've thought about putting a hose clamp on there just so I can get the exact length, I guess you could say.
Jay, it's
What-
gonna change. It's gonna change every time you grind because you're grinding some off.
Oh, I thought about that.
Right, and there's two captured. There's the berry grind and berry grind 2. Which one do you have for the bowl gouges?
For the bolt,
The berry grind 2 has a like a lock-in way that actually only locks it in a little bit differently. It's got like a cradle. It's 2-piece, where the berry
Right.
grind is 1 piece.
are you talking about what the tool sits down into and leans?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I guess I've got the 2 because it's a V. It's a V cut.
It's-
Oh, no.
Are you using a CBN wheel or the white
He's
wheels?
not using.
CBN.
Oh, okay.
What you
Yeah, I
want-
don't
what
have
you
to.
want-
I never had to adjust mine. You know, I've never had to adjust mine. I set it several months ago and I haven't had to adjust it back. Mine is about 7 inches from the very front of the wheel to the very back end. Of course, I do a very swept back Irish, like it's like my wings are way back. But
Yeah,
I
so-
haven't had to adjust. I haven't had to adjust mine.
You know,
And I use a black Sharpie to mark where it needs to be because I have several different tools that use that.
You have
I
a
just use
jig-
a black
you have
Sharpie.
a jig like this that you use. This
It's-
is the,
Yes. Yes.
all right. This is the true grind one, but it's very similar to the Wolverine and the other ones. Okay, basically what you do is you want the correct amount out in front of the tool. So what people do is they have a little sort of a device or whatever that holds your I can't see myself now, so I don't know what I'm doing. That holds your it holds your tool. You know, it sits on your thing, and it's always the same length. So what you do is you put the tool in the little device, and then
Right.
you bring this up. So you always have this. You always start with the same
Right.
amount of tool sticking out in front of it, and that's
Correct.
the way you want it.
Well, see, here's the thing: is that I've only got one CBN wheel, so I'm constantly going between having the rod shooting through and then having this flat plate. I've got 2 of them. I got the long rod that shoots through, and then I've got the plate where I do my scrapers.
Okay,
And
well
so
you can
I'm
do the
constantly
you can do
switching.
your you can do your scrapers on the CBN with this tool also. I do my scrapers with this. I do everything with this. I just
Really?
have I just have the little demarcations. I mark them on the side, and I write the you know how which slot on the how far out it is on the tool handle, and I mark it on this part. You know what I've made this angle to on the tool handle. So I've got on the tool handle, I've written with a Sharpie what my settings are for grinding it. Okay.
Okay.
And then you just, you know, your important part is to make sure you've got the right amount of tool sticking out the front. And then you set your distance out on your sliding bar, and you just do it. And I do my skews, my scrapers, and my bowl gouges in my parting tool, all this and the settings in the same wheel.
You do your skews also?
Yeah. The way you set up your skew is I set up my skew like this. Let me see if I can do this right. I set up my skew like this.
Okay.
And then you grind one side like that on the wheel, and then you grind it the other side like that on the wheel.
Well, I'll be. Okay.
So, you know, you got the point down, or at least that's how I do it. Okay.
Okay.
And then when you tighten her down and whatnot, and you set it to the right thing. Let me get this tight.
How far do you stick your tool out? An inch and a half, or 2 inches?
I do it to how far my grinder is, which is about 2.5 inches or so.
Wow.
I do it from the edge of my table to where my grinder starts on my table.
Okay.
So I don't know. It's a little less than that, but it's not that far out. But and then when you put it on the wheel, when I set it, you're setting this bit so it's straight in, so it's straight like that.
Okay.
And then I get a grind like that, and you can, you know, if you want the tip of it flat, then you do a little bit more on the front, and then you flip it over. You got to do the same amount on each side so you get the same.
Okay.
You know, the same amount of grind on both sides of your skew.
Well, I was talking to Eddie today, and Eddie is just a plethora of knowledge. He really helped me today. I mean, I was making chunks to now I'm making ribbons. So
Good.
But Jay, what is the actual problem you're having? Is you're not getting a good consistent grind, or you're having to regrind all the time, or?
Well, no, it's not that I'm having to regrind all the time. It's just getting the distance between the wheel because I'm switching so often. You know, I'm sharpening my scrapers, like my round nose scrapers. So I use my flat plate that fits into my Wolverine, and then I'll pull that out, and then I've got to get the correct distance again for my bowl gouges. And so I'm not getting a constant, the right grind every single time, which made me think, why don't I just get a hose clamp and put it on the tube, the square tube that fits into my Wolverine. That way it stops at the same point every time. But then Matt made a good point. He said, well, you're always going to be having to adjust the distance because you're scraping away metal and it's always changing. And I never thought about that.
Well, where the tool sticks out of the holder is, you know, it's like, you know, there's some are about 1.5 inches, 7/8, or up to 2 inches, some have. That's going to change a little bit because, you know, when you pull in, but every time you put tool in, you adjust it. The height, the length from the bar coming out should be the same once it matches what you want. You can just draw, you know, a colored marker on it so you can see it and get it approximate, and then throw a little black marker on your tool edge, that when you lay it against the grinder, that you see it's matching the same way again. If not, you might have to adjust it a little bit, especially if you happen to adjust the tool, you know, something like that.
Okay.
Let me ask a question, because I think people are talking about different things. You're talking about when you put the rest up, when you switch from one rest to the other, it's getting the rest back in the right position. Is that what you're talking about?
I think that what he's trying to say, and forgive me if I'm putting words in anybody's mouth, but it sounds like he's getting confused when he switches between using the Wolverine and the sliding tool table.
Correct.
Okay, so the question is getting your table back in the right position to regrind the tool.
Well, not necessarily the table. I do pretty good with the table. It's just the arm that sticks in for my bowl gouges and stuff.
Okay, what you need to do is go look at the Raptor Raptor thing for setting that. It's a shape, shape similar to this.
Who's talking? I'm switching screen.
Trace. This is Trace talking.
Okay. hang on.
Okay.
For you.
Okay. See the little drawing I have on that?
There you go.
Hang on,
Yes,
Trace.
and Raptor makes that in sets for several degrees. They make it for a 50 and for 40 and for several other degrees, so you can set for whatever degree you prefer to make the grind.
Correct. And you can
I've
make,
got those Raptors. I've got those.
okay. The Raptor will reset it back to where it is. And if it's not the setting you want, make your own. I've got my own made for it too. So I can go back and reset it to the same distance out. Just copy the design and make it for what you need.
What do you make them out of? Wood?
A piece of acrylic, like just a clear plastic.
Make them out of corian.
I don't have corian.
I just used oh shoot, I'm drawing a blank now. What the clear window screens that are plastic. Plexiglass.
Yeah, or you can make them out of hard
acrylic.
Make it out of plexiglass.
Yeah, or hardboard.
That works.
You know, the hardboard and stuff. I mean,
So how do you? What's your method of making your first one? Do you just go off a template?
Well, I decide the size I wanted, and I just drew it on a piece of paper, and then traced it on there and cut it out, and then adjusted it exactly to the way I wanted it. The only magic thing you have to do though is the bottom point that catches has to be above the rotation point directly up to the lathe. Otherwise, you'll never get it out. You need to be able to pick it up. That's the only challenge. But just draw it on a piece of paper. Draw your 8-inch wheel on a piece of paper, and look at the distance that you want your point out, and draw it.
I'm not that talented.
Well, it's just drawing a circle and then copying the Wolverine, the Raptor jig.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Jay, if you go to my website under sharing information, this is Eddie. Under sharing information, I have the sheets from David Ellsworth that explains the 247 grind that he uses. And also there's a template that you can cut out to make a variable adjustable template like the Raptor. And you can mark it to what you want, put pins in it. It's really easy to build out a 1/4-inch PVC, and it will do exactly what Trey talks about. You only have to build one, and you can make it to where you can lock in the simple locations. But when you get that grind worked out, forget about all that math. When you get one that works, stop and use it. And remember how to get there and go right back to it again and again and again. And you'll be a better turner if you don't change those grinds.
yeah, the thing is, you're trying to make it reproducible and stuff. But bottom line, you get the gouge back up to your grinding wheel. You got to make the decision: is it the same or not? You might have to adjust a little bit before you start grinding, or you're going to change the grind. And if you change the grind a little, that's not going to be a big deal. But you're just wasting metal at that point. That's all you're doing.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Ronnie.
There he is.
Hey, Ronnie.
Hey, Ron.
Good evening.
Good evening, Ronnie.
And
I didn't want to interrupt.
one of the additional things I do when I'm grinding my tools is sharpening my tools is I do a sanity check just to check and make sure that the angle is where I want it before I actually put the metal on the wheel. And you basically just get it close and make sure that it's it's square to the wheel, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So you can, you can do that with the wheel off and check it.
All right.
Yeah, and I must say that I do a lot more honing with a honing card. Okay. I do that much more than I sharpen on the grinder.
Matt, will you do that on your bow gouges as well?
Yeah. You just ride it along the bevel.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll bring it in like I'll grind my tools. If I'm doing a lot of turning, I'll sharpen my tools on the grinder, you know, maybe every week, once a week, but I'm honing almost all the time. So, you know, you just put an edge on, get it sharp. You can tell when it stops being sharp, and then you hone it again. And then, you know, once you've got it honed a bunch of times, and you can see, okay, it's time to go to the grinder, then you go to the grinder.
Matt, where do you get your card?
I probably Woodcraft or maybe Craft Supplies. You know,
what's the grit?
I don't know. One side is I haven't bought these, maybe even Amazon. I think I haven't bought one of these in years. I keep using the same one. I've got one in a backup, so it's I don't know. They're about, I think it was about $65, but you know it's not like it gets dull, right? So yeah, I don't know. I use it all the time though.
I know they had the nickel diamond, and then they went with the CPM versions of it too. So.
Yeah, and I have, you know, I'm just using a basic $35 Harbor Freight 6-inch grinder, and that's what I have sharpened my tools on for years. And I probably spent.
The double-sided card is 300 and 600.
How?
Yeah, look at.
Yeah, I'm frugal. I think I spent $90 on the wheel. It's 3 times the cost of my grinder. So
yeah,
I bought a nice white wheel, but I don't know. Yeah, if I can find it, I may have ordered the last ones off of Amazon. If I can find it, I'll put it in the chat.
Well,
hey, Eddie, let me add something. Eddie, this is Andy Phillips. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Sure can.
Okay. The best advice I ever got, it was go to your club, if you have a club, and find out who is the best sharpener. Have him come to your shop, set up and explain how to set up that grinder and stick with it. I had a man from our club. A lot of you know Joaquin Vincent. He came to my shop. He, you know, I have the Wolverine. He set it up, and I have no problem. But get somebody from your. That's why you have a club for advice. Have them come.
Part of a club, but it's just so dadgum far away. It's almost an hour away.
But it's worth it. It's worth a one-time shot.
Yeah, well, you can do FaceTime, maybe in quick Zoom or whatever too, and you know, stuff like that. So
yeah,
help out.
Yeah, I like that idea. Somebody want to come over and adjust mine, set mine up for me?
Where do you live?
In Ohio.
Oh, love to come to Ohio. Maybe in a couple of months.
It's gonna snow tonight.
I think I just put Eddie's template up on the chat if somebody's looking for it.
Well, one thing I'd like to add is that it really does take a lot of time and patience. When I first started learning to sharpen, unfortunately, the guy I learned from online, Brendan Stemp, you guys may have known him when he had his YouTube channel. He really explained things beautifully, and there's different teachers for different learners. So for me, he just really explained things, and it takes time setting these jigs up and setting this stuff up, because you're not just trying to set it up and get it to work. You're kind of trying to understand how and why it works at the same time. So just setting it up or copying something that somebody else is doing, it's all fine and dandy to get it done right then. But the problem with it is when you do have this, I need to adjust it, or I bumped it and it's out of whack. Now you're, and it's been so long since I've had all mine set up that it's hard to remember what exactly and how I got there, because it was through trial and error where I got there and learned why along the way. So give yourself patience and just watch as many videos as you can, at least on the whys, because then why you're sharpening it this way, why these edges are like this, why. And then when you do set it up, it kind of makes more sense as to why you're setting it up that way and what is going to achieve what. So give yourself some patience, and and it does take time. It does take time to get it, to understand it. It did for me, at least.
Okay.
Yeah, I know one thing. I had a tendency to over try sharpening the tip, and the tips would get really wacky. And it also depends on the shape of your gouges too. How you play with them and stuff. So.
Hey guys, I just tried to post a link in chat and I don't see it.
Jay, how long have you been turning?
Me?
Yeah,
6 years.
6 years?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. No, I thought maybe you were brand new because.
Oh, no.
It takes a while to
Sound like
learn how to use the tool is one thing, but then understanding the tool is another, and that's what they telling you.
Okay.
Okay, so
Hey folks, I just tried to post a link in chat and I don't see it.
It's there. It's
Okay.
there.
All right, I don't know.
You may
why I
need
don't
to
see it.
scroll to the bottom
Yeah,
of
it's
your
there.
chat.
I don't see anything in chat, so very
I'm
confused.
having an issue myself.
It's there.
Okay, all right, good. I won't worry about it then.
Yeah,
Anyway,
the
it
thing
was
is,
that's the sharpening card I use. I could see them purchased twice on Amazon and it's $9.25. So
there you go.
that's the bargain of the century, if you ask me,
Really?
because I thought it was a lot more than that.
Oh, wow. Is that that's double-sided, right?
Yeah,
with
one
different-
side is really fine, really smooth, and that's the side I use almost all the time to hone with, and the other side is a little rougher. So let's say I'm not really paying as much attention on my skew and it slips off and ticks my my chuck or my something, and I take a little nubbin out of it, and then I hit it with the rougher side.
Got it. Well, a lot of those cards, one side is like 600, and that's the real smooth side, and the other one's like, I don't know, maybe 180.
That's about what they feel like. The smooth side is so smooth it doesn't even feel rough.
Yeah.
Doesn't even feel like sandpaper.
I went with the higher ones, like the 12 or 1800s for the carving tools. So I have a couple of each, but you get them from a reputable guy, and you get what you pay for. And I've had them for years, and they don't go bad.
Yeah, it doesn't take much to put a new edge on your tool with it either. It's just a zip and you're good. So
Wow.
when I was new demos, I was always taking that with me too. It's a very quick touch up.
I always warn folks about buying those Harbor Freight diamonds and thinking I'm getting a good deal. Think about what you're paying for.
Yeah, if it was good, it wouldn't be that cheap.
Yeah.
Eddie,
But,
don't you sell cards?
Pardon me?
Don't you sell those cards on your site?
Oh, no.
Okay, I thought you did.
Nope.
You
I got
get
some
it?
friends that sell it, and I don't compete against my friends. That's just the way I do it.
Got it. That's cool. Well, I need one, so wherever y'all suggest unanimously I go is where I'll go.
It's on the chat right now. Matt Harber put it there a little while ago.
Oh, okay. You talking about the Amazon?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the card that I bought. So
Okay.
and I love mine, and it's solid. I throw it in my bucket with my tools, and it bounces around in there when I'm traveling, and nothing. I mean, it's not like it's hitting a tool edge or anything, but
Right.
it's not. I don't worry about it getting damaged or anything. It's solid.
Well, see, I've been, like I said, I've been turning for about 5-6 years, and I've gotten into not really a slump, but just I like certain grinds, and so I haven't been really experimenting with any new grinds. Can you
don't
all
fix it?
It ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's right.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah.
We teach turning class. We're doing 10 a semester, and we have common tools and stuff. I always volunteer to sharpen the tools because they're all screwed up. You can fix them, and you can play around with somebody else's tools.
Ah,
I mean, they're the cheaper tools, the typical Penn State tools, but we got a quantity discount. And for the students, they're fine.
okay.
Yeah, Benjamin Best are good tools to experiment on too, because they're inexpensive.
Or you buy some used old ones. It may not be as long, but then you can just, if you need to have a special grind to do things like for sometimes the inside of a bottom of bowl, you have a weird angle that you can, I think it's like that 40 degree that you can get in and get around easier. as opposed to typical bowl gouge. But so the other trick is some of them they'll do two different grinds on it, one for the outside of a bowl, and one for the inside of a bowl in the same gouge. You know, because you don't use the other side for anything else. So,
What about a fingernail grind? When will you use a fingernail?
So how do you define a fingernail grind?
I want to hear this. Wait, I want to hear this.
Wait a minute, Kim's fingernail or Doug's fingernail or my fingernail? Is Doug on yet?
I recognize that. That's a bull crap. I recognize it.
I have a spindle gouge, not this one, and I've showed this before on here, that this started out as like a 1/2-inch spindle gouge, and it's got a shallow flute, and I reground the edges and steepened the bevel, and this is now my detail gouge, and I use this on all sorts of different things because it's a great little tool. And all I did was I swept the edges, the shoulders back, and steepen the grind a little bit. And so it's now, you know, I don't know, 45 degrees or 50 degrees or something here. I don't know. And it's swept back on the shoulders, and I use it for every little detail. Every time I want to go around a corner or do a bead or, you know, a little detail inside of something. So like this little spindle here that I was playing around with, I made almost all of the stuff, all the little features and stuff with that spindle gouge, with that detail gouge. So, you know, maybe there's you know, if you got a tool you're not using, and we all have drawers of those or what, you know, buckets of those, maybe experiment with something you're not using to see if you can make it into something you can get more use out of.
Okay. Thank you.
Good. So you got 100 different ways of doing it.
Yep. And every one of us has got, every one of us will tell you, this is my favorite tool and this is the best way to do it. And every one of us is probably right.
Yeah, it's funny. I have a set of gouges that I got. They're called Aldous. They're made in England. And when the Henry guys were out, and I told them, I said, you know, I love these tools. It says, and they said, oh, they never made turning tools. They only make chisels. It's like, I got a bunch of them. They have like a little green handle, but I love the handles. I got big hands that just fit right, you know? At some place I picked them up at some point, used them, didn't like them, I got rid of them, you know?
You have to keep in mind that every time you sharpen it, you're throwing steel on the floor and somebody's got to sell it to you.
Yep.
I got a magnet sitting on my grinding wheel that catches most of that stuff.
I got a metal vacuum attached to mine, automatically turns on. So the CBM wheels, it's not as much, but I explicitly found a used metal, like 5-gallon can, and I got that automatic switch that turns it on to suck it, because you don't be sucking that dust around. So that sounds like a safety moment.
And I tell
yes,
you,
it does. You're the safety reindeer tonight.
You might not think about it, that dust will rust. So it ends up on your lathe bed or your tool bed or your table saw or wherever. And that steel is carbon steel. It will rust. And you'll end up with some pitting and blotching and stuff. And it's just an idea that if you can contain it. I've got rare earth magnets all around my grinder just for that. Who's up? Come on. It's 6:45 or 1/4 to the hour. I'm Captain Eddie Castle, and you're tuned into Worldwide Woodturners for December 30th, 2020, which means one more day of this year, and we make it through the next year. So,
Eddie, did you tell him you're seeing color in both eyes now?
I hadn't gotten there yet, Ronnie, but boy, I tell you what, folks, I had my eyes rebuilt over the last month, and this morning or yesterday morning, I had to go back to the surgeon. And he said, how are things? And I said, they're color in both eyes. I feel like a Zenith TV. I mean, it is perfect. I can blink. I'm not making eyes at y'all. I can blink my eyes. The color doesn't shift. I don't have the brown glaze anymore. I'm happy. Today I was told I got to be out of the shop and do nothing for about another 4 or 5 days until everything heals up. But then I'm back. I'm back.
Cool. But yeah, the other thing is, you know, I had that metal, metal vacuum on my grinder when I originally had the regular stones on it. Then went to CBM. Regular stones created sparks. I thought, trying to keep the sparks contained, have it sucked into that metal container. Don't worry about them, you know. But with the CBM, you don't get any sparks really. So, and my wet grinder, obviously, it's underwater.
Yeah, I normally shape tools up on a belt sander, and I had a 4x36 I picked up at Harbor Freight, and I would use it for shaping up stuff and cleaning steel. And I discovered a couple of years ago, if you're going to do that with a belt sander, don't do wood with the same belt sander. We learned how well the fire extinguisher worked.
Yep.
So, hey, you want to do a safety minute? It's about 13 minutes before the hour. You got a safety minute for us?
Sure. Let me pick up my phone. I actually keep track of this stuff. So, let's see. One of the things we're going to talk about. Good evening is our safety moment. Parting off. When you're parting off stuff, left hand the tool, right hand holding the piece. Everybody's gonna love this one. Suck, don't blow. Vacuum. Don't blow air around. Be careful sweeping. I mean, you're putting dust in the air. You're gonna breathe it. Vacuum it up. Also, be careful with chemicals, especially things like the ones that clean iron and stuff. It creates noxious gases. I did that once. I had a little bit of rust on one of my bandsaws. I did one of those cleaners. I couldn't get out of the garage fast enough. It was so bad. I couldn't believe it. Just a little bit of spray. It's that iron and oxidation. Cleaned it off good, but I had to open all the doors up to get it out of there. So be careful and turn safe, everybody, and have a great new year.
Thank you. And oh yeah, if you get this idea, and it's on YouTube, you'll get this idea to use oven cleaner to clean your saw blades. I lost my fingerprints for a month. Because it all sounded like a good idea, except the guy didn't say you have to wear good heavy rubber gloves.
Yeah, and do it outside.
The spot's still on a sidewalk out there.
Really?
Okay, 10 minutes 40 hour. We just talked with Ray a little while ago about sharpening tools, and there's a trick to it and a habit to it. And as we're talking with Ray about this, the deal is get consistent. If you need to use a Raptor to locate that pocket, I manufacture a jig for sharpening, and I have a thing on there called the AccuSet. It slips on a bar, and when you push it in till you slide, it stops. Now, with the CBN wheel, once I got my 247, I don't have any adjustments to make. I can pull it out, put in something else, put in one for the roughing gouge or the bowl gouge. I can change all those out, but when I go back to that bar, it's right back where it needs to be all over again. And I got that idea from a workshop with Johannes Mikkelsen. He had a piece of wood super glued to the side of his slide. And when he put it in a slide and pushed it up to that little block of wood, that's what stopped it. And when he moved from place to place to place, he broke it off and readjusted it to his setting. And then he could always just go in and stop it, because the guy before you or the guy you're with or you with your elbow will bump that thing and knock it out of line. So try to make it, what I said, consistent. Yes. And it'll be a lot better. I also had a conversation with a guy named Tim this morning. Tim said, thanks. He's on here. I saw his name a few minutes ago. Tim said, we were talking about putting faceplates on pieces. And we were saying, do not use drywall screws. Tim said, but they go in so well. He put a 6-inch faceplate on a block of black locust this morning, and he put 6 screws in it. And for some reason, he knocked it off the lathe and hit the floor. It broke all 6 screws off, all 6 of them. broke them off, snapped them in half. And he said, then he got to thinking about it. If they'd been on a lathe and he got a catch, he'd be wearing it right here. So that I don't have anything against drywall screws, but drywall, they're awesome. For anything that there would be a cross stress, a stress, they don't have it. They're missing the alloy that would give them the flexibility. That's why drywall people like them. But if you go to Home Depot, Lowe's, one of the other big name stores, you can often find deck screws. It might look sort of like a drywall screw, but it's got some other alloys in it which allow it to flex, because you can put it on a deck, and if the boards warp or move or twist or just walking on them or leaning on them, whatever, they will flex rather than snap. And I found a lumber yard in Ponchatoula, that's a real town, that had them in several sizes. They're all number 10s, but they came from 1.5 to 3 inches. If you need a 3-inch screw for a faceplate, you're really turning something big. But consider that. Tim said, thank you so much. That's what we're here for. And a little while ago, somebody said there should be, who was saying there should be a website or a place where you can go and see this. That's what we are. We're always, I would love to have somebody that's really efficient at sharpening do some demos for us with intensity to show what it is. We had Trey do the 40-40 grind a while back. He showed you how to do it, every step of it, how to lay it out, how to set it up, how to sweep it, what the goal was, why do you do it? Same thing that happened. Matt was just now saying he's got this fingernail gouge. I went to a class, I mean, a couple of classes with Mark Soleil. Ronnie likes Mark. And in fact, Ronnie and I went to one of the classes together to watch his demonstration. He would take your fingernail gouge and sharpen it to do a relief on the back of it. And what you end up with is you're cutting with the 1/8 of an inch on the tip of that tool. And you can get it so sharp. And when you go in straight and then roll it over to do a cut, it slices it out. That's what Mark Slay calls it, slicing wood. Don't be misled by that. That's not with the utility knife. That is with a gouge. So,
Hey,
look at that. That's that. Where you copied that from?
I don't know. Guess who?
David, that's one of mine, right?
Yes. And it's see your name's still on it.
Oh, all righty.
And I put on the side of it, I mark it for what tool that I'm using to be able to bring it back the way it was before.
I thank you. I cheated on mine, and when I have it set for Ellsworth, I drill the hole in the one that moves and the one that doesn't, and I put a pin through it.
Yeah.
Then when I move again, because I don't see that well. Oh, now I do.
I got 2 or 3 of these that made up of, that I made up of, and for different use. And I thank you very much for having that plan on your site.
You're welcome. I got in so much trouble from a club one time because I wanted to give them away, and somebody said, you're avoiding somebody's copyright. I said, nobody has that. How can I avoid their copyright? Nobody has that. Yeah. And that's why we came up with it, because I couldn't spend $40 for 4 templates.
Yeah, well, it's just so simple. I mean, if you just leave it at the, and just make them yourself and just set them up, leave them, and you can come back to it right away.
Yeah, and they work exactly the same as that other product does.
Yeah.
Locate your wheel to your pivot point, and that's what we're trying to do.
Thank you.
Hey,
Thank
Eddie, I gotta
get off this.
Where you at?
Where you at? There you go, Brenda.
Hey, talking about the screws, a week or 2 ago, Ronnie helped me. We was talking about the screws. I didn't realize this before, but he said the magic number or whatever for the size of the screw, the length of the screw, is you want 7 threads sticking out of your faceplate when you put the screw in it to decide if you got the right length or not. You don't want to use something, that's not long enough.
Ronnie, where'd you get that number?
That came from an official site. That's what they said, and it works great.
I
Okay.
did see that on somewhere the other day too.
Right.
It said 7 or 8. Yeah.
Right. The only thing that's doing is that's giving you the correct length sticking out past the faceplate.
Right. That helped me.
I'm glad you're using it, Brenda.
I'm using it. I count.
Did anything come off the lathe this week?
Yes.
Come on now.
Intentionally or
You're gonna tell me
unintentionally?
No.
What's that?
I said one of these weeks you're gonna tell me no.
Yeah. Christmas Day. Actually, I got it right here. You'll see it?
There you go. Look at that.
Christmas Day, I went out and worked on this, and I was out in the garage for 10 minutes. This thing come off the lathe twice. There's the back of it.
Pretty.
You were looked like you were using a tenon on that.
Yes. Yeah, it was a thin piece. Started out real thin.
Do you ever turn with a recess?
Yeah, I usually do.
And when you turn your recess, there is a tool made by Technitool that gives you that dovetail cut on the inside of the recess. Do you use that?
No, actually, when I used to use a dovetail cut,
Right.
but I was losing a lot of things. That's when what's the guy's name? Johnny Hughes. I saw him, and he says with the type of
Chuck
I've got, it's straight.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Right.
Johnny's out there tonight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I seen him a little bit ago. So anybody know what kind of wood this is?
I'm seeing daylight on that platter, huh?
Yes, I filled it full of resin in different spots. I don't know if you can
That
see.
looks nice.
Yeah, I was happy with the way it turned out.
What kind of wood is that?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking. Do you know?
It's fogwood.
Holywood.
We would. Okay.
Fogwood. Fogwood.
Had it would because she had it.
Yeah, I don't remember what it even looked like before I started turning it.
Brenda, do you know what fogwood is?
Yes, found on the ground.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Probably,
I've heard
probably looked like a tree before you started turning it.
There you go.
Like persimmon.
bunch of Canadians tonight.
Okay, hey folks, good evening. It's top of the hour. I'm Captain Eddie Castellan. You're tuned in to Worldwide Woodturners, your wood turning club. Couple of quick notes. We do have our own website, and probably it's one of the best wood turning websites in the world. And I'm gonna brag on it, but I didn't put it together. David did, and it's really done nice. And David works almost every day on doing this. Last week's program is up on there. I just saw it a few minutes ago. And it's also on, of course, on YouTube. But he links up all the photographs that you send in of your work and other things. We try to get all this information in one spot so that we are locked into wood turning for everybody. And if you've got something to add, there's a contact ticket on the website. Contact us, and you put it in there, or you can send it to our own email address, worldwidewoodturners@gmail.com. worldwidewoodturners@gmail.com. No capitalize and all that stuff. That's as simple as it can be. Just like our website, worldwidewoodturners@worldwidewoodturners.org. Okay. Now I tried to line up a demonstration tonight, and the guy that said he could probably help us out is not checked in with us yet. I'm waiting to see, but another guy said he'd help us out. And with that in mind, I'm going to see if Matt is still there. If Matt's around, he said we're going to go walk around his workshop.
Yep, I'm still here.
That's
Let me
sound
spotlight.
okay. Now we got you, Matt.
Okay. Whoops. I just screwed that up. Hang on.
That dog chewing on you, Matt? We can't hear you now, Matt.
All right, hear me now.
No, we can't hear you
Now you're good. Yeah, you're good.
All right. This is my shop. It's up to 45 degrees in here now, balmy evening. And let me see if I can switch to this other thing here, like that. And this here. And we're going to use this. Okay, this is on my phone. So let me back up a bit. There's my computer and the junk underneath that connects everything. This is my lathe. This little box here has got super magnets on the bottom, and it just sits in a little cavity on top there, and it holds a whole bunch of junk. I was testing my screws and my faceplate. If I was going to make this again, I would make it about an inch shorter and an inch further this way, like here, instead of, because the overhang is a little messier. I built this sort of framework up here just to hang lights from, and then realized that I could hang a bunch of other things on it, including a power strip. I could cut little things out of 2x4s to stick, sanding sealer, or make little hooks to hold things in. This holder for my drill, I power sand on the lathe. This is just a piece of PVC pipe that's big enough for my drill to fit into. This tool rack is a rack that it was a kitchen drawer, pull-out drawer thing that we weren't using. So what I did is I cut it and put these little 12-inch dowels in here to make it wider. And this is what I hold all the tools that I work with all the time with. Okay, I'm in an 11 by 20 garage bay, so things are pretty cramped in here. So I've got like wood stuck everywhere and pieces stuck everywhere. So there's my grinder so that I can have easy access to it. There's the wheel that costs 3 times what the grinder cost. Everybody has seen this little doohickey here. This is my tenon and recess measure. So it fits in my chuck jaws like that. And the outer one is minimum recess size, and it allows me to eyeball tenons and stuff. And the big hole is so it fits on my tailstock quill, so I can have really easy, quick access to it. So among other things, I needed to get lights targeted, so I started building these like articulated arms. And this is the first one I built, and it's got a little kind of clamp-on light to it, and it lets me really get the lights in close on my work when I really need it. And I then started building little ones for the cameras. So this is just plywood, and I got some of the videos off of YouTube and how to make these knobs off of YouTube, and made these little camera mounts for the cameras that I use when I do the demos. Table saw, used for holding things like a table. This is my my vacuum chuck thing, and this is this bit here goes into the outboard side of my spindle, and then I have vacuum chucks here that screw onto my spindle. I bought a tap so I can tap. Let me get one of these off here. So it's got a tap and a little piece of foam on the bottom to help seal it, and there's threads in there. I don't know if you can see that real well. And that's one of my vacuum chucks. So having it coming through this is a frugal vacuum chuck setup. And I replaced its plastic fittings with brass ones from Harbor Freight. And this bit goes into my spindle here, and you just put some machine oil on it, and those are O-rings from the hardware store. You can't really see that real well, can you? So looks like that, made out of that plastic melamine or whatever that stuff is. So I love my vacuum chuck. It's great for finishing bottoms, and I've got other ones. I've got big plate ones for doing platters and so on. So behind my lathe is, and I'm going to turn around here, is my detail station. So I've got like 5 or 6 Dremels, maybe more, and a Fordham. This is a Fordham. This is the Dremel. This Dremel has got a, let me turn the light on here. This Dremel has got a reciprocating handpiece on it, and it uses these flex cut knives. It behaves like a power carver. I use that sometimes for buzzing off the nubs on the bottoms of stuff. This is my Fordham handpiece, and I use these sanding mandrels to. This is a 400 grit paper on it, and it's a sanding mandrel to smooth things out. If I've got something that needs sanding at the end. And then for normal Dremel use, I've got 2 more sitting over here. This is a sandbag thing. It lets you, and it's got a piece of contact paper, that's stuff that goes on shelves. It's not contact paper, they call it something else, but it goes on shelves in the kitchen, no stick, whatever. It's a little bag of sand that goes inside this, and it lets you reposition things. So when you're carving something, you can change the position and shape it how you want it. So you can hold it till you carve it. This is my micro carver, bits. I got a wood burner over here. So this is all right behind my lathe. And the rest of it is just, there's a tool cabinet there. Every available bit of table space is full. Bandsaw, and behind that is a drill press. Clamps. I shelve up instead of sideways because I don't have any room sideways. So it's
Can you go
clever.
back to your drill press real quick? Is your
Yeah,
drill press on a bench or is it freestanding?
No, it's freestanding.
Oh, you do have the freestanding one. Okay,
Yeah.
I was gonna say mine's on a bench, and that same what you just called contact paper, because none of us can remember the name of it, but the stuff that goes in your shelf for your dishes to sit on. I put that underneath my drill press on my bench, and it takes a lot of the vibration out.
Well, that's a good idea. Yeah, I had a bench one. I started off with a bench one, probably, another $30 Harbor Freight purchase. And these went on sale when you're like Home Depot or somebody was put them on clearance, and my ex-wife talked me into buying it. So, which was a real hard sell, I'm sure.
So she wasn't all bad.
No, she and I get along fine. So, and this here is my microwave, my shop microwave. I picked this out of somebody's trash. It's a good size. This is what I dry wood in. If you want to talk about that, I'm happy to talk about that. Your primary warning is don't use the one in the kitchen to dry your wood with. I have a whole process that I've written up if you're interested in doing that. And don't set your house on fire. So, but other than that, any other questions on any of the other stuff I've got in my shop here? Let me switch back to.
Come on, folks, jump in and ask.
Yeah, I got a question. Your PVC pipe that you use to put your drill and stuff in, how did you connect that?
I've just got 2. I've got crap on top of it. They're the calipers on top of it, but it's just a piece of wood and some carriage bolts. There's carriage bolts inside there. Let me see if I can pull it out here. So it's just
a neat idea. I'm going to do that with my shop.
Totally. So it's just a couple carriage bolts and a piece of wood on top to hold it on top of my light framework there. So that's all it is.
Okay.
So I saw that online somewhere too. I was like, yeah, exactly like you guys. I'm like, that's so cool. I got to do that. Because it was always just kind of sitting around. Yes.
Can you show us something about your dust collection system?
Okay. You can see the hoses back behind there. Okay. So I've got my dust collector is here behind my lathe. It's a big one there. And there's a dust gate on the wall that goes to the table saw. Okay. There's another dust gate. Let me move this. This is my dust collection here that I use in the lathe now. I've tried a bunch of different things. But this is something I made myself. I've got the dust gauge is here for it, and I can adjust it in or out. You can see that. I can't see what I'm showing here. Hang on. Okay, so I should put a knob on this, but I can. And this is just hooks over the lathe bed like this, so I can move it wherever I want on my lathe bed, and angle it however I need to this way and bring it in. Whoops. Hang on a second.
We're experiencing technical difficulties.
Yeah, I'm still here. My phone just disconnected on it on me. Hang on. All right, I'm gonna have to switch back here. So I think my phone's out of juice. Let me switch to this one here. There we go. Sorry, guys.
Matt, is it possible to get a copy of your microwave procedure?
Yeah, that's actually, if you're a Facebook friend of mine, or even if you're not, because my stuff is all public, it's in my Facebook notes. But write me on Facebook, and I'll send you a copy of it. Basically, you know, I always microwave at 50% power. I don't go any higher than that, no matter how wet or how dry something is. I never go for more than 7 minutes at 50% power. If it's fairly dry, I start at like 3 minutes at 50% power. So, and pay attention, if you start smelling smoke, pull it out. I put the piece in a brown paper bag. I use brown paper bags. You put it in the brown paper bag, and if you don't have a moisture detector or you don't have a scale, you microwave it by stages until when you pull it out of the microwave, the brown paper bag is dry to the touch. If it's damp, it's still pushing moisture out.
All right. What's your name on Facebook?
I think I'm facebook.com/infinite.thread.
Matt, I'm looking at that box on top of your headstock.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yep.
Wait, show that one more time. I'm going to take a screenshot.
Oh, I wiped my finger across it there. It's facebook.com/infinite.thread.
Yep. Thank you.
Yep.
Can I ask you if you would send that to our webmaster, David?
Sure.
And he would add it to our website.
I will do that.
Matt, I'm looking at that
No
box.
problem. I just wrote it down.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ronnie.
I said, I'm looking at that box on top of your headstock. That is a shavings collector.
It is, and I occasionally have to take stuff out and blow it out, but you know, if you're not spraying stuff up, you know, it doesn't fill up. Surprisingly, most of my shavings are going out that way rather than into the box. So
I was going to say you must have just cleaned it today.
I did. I swept too.
Swept? What the heck is that?
Hey, Matt, I'd like to say that I've been wanting to, or thinking about making a box like that, and hadn't figured out how, you know, to actually attach it yet. So I
put these super magnets on the
magnets,
bottom.
yes.
I put the neodymium magnets on the bottom, so these suckers.
Right. Yes.
So they're inch in diameter. I epoxied them in there. I think I have 2 of them in there. So they hold it in there really good. So that's it. I took my the little, you know, the Powermatics, they come with a pad that goes on top of here, and I was forever blowing sandpaper off or knocking stuff off, and I was like, you know, I need to do something to hold stuff out there better. I really like the convenience of having a place to put stuff right so close. So
yes, my big lathe, don't have I mean, it's like sitting in the middle of the room, like, you know, and nothing around it. So nothing to sit down the sandpaper or your tool or anything.
When I'm working, I really like having things very close, where I can put the tool real quick and grab the next one, or whatever. So you're not just throwing stuff on the lathe bed. You know, I inevitably end up knocking things on the floor if I do that. So I really like having this. And I've got buddies of mine who have those, you know, those carts. You can buy those carts at Harbor Freight.
Right.
The hand carts with the wheels on the bottom, and they use those, and they put their stuff in the cart, you know. So that's another good idea. Yes. So, but you know, I have this framework here, and I've just been making little things, little fixtures to hold stuff, and nailing things into my into my framework, or screwing things in and so on. So you know, once you figure out that you can make things to hold things on the bandsaw from 2x4s, you know, it opens up a world of ways to hold things.
Right. My small lathe, I got a small lathe and sitting on a desk, you know, like an old school desk, school teacher desk. So it's got plenty of room, you know. I put the tools underneath, or I got a pile of sandpaper beside it and a lot of sawdust. But on my big lathe, you know, there's no place to sit anything down.
Yeah, this is a real useful. Like I say, I'd make it a little shorter. I think I've got this. This is like 3 inches tall. I'd make it like 2 inches tall, the walls.
Okay.
And I wouldn't. I you can't really see this from the camera, but let me shift this other one here. Cut to this one here and raise it up a little bit. This overhang here is a little bothersome. So I would move it. You know, move it so it didn't overhang this or this part. I mean, it doesn't overhang here. It's flush here on this side, but it overhangs a little bit too far here, and I find that gets in my way sometimes when I'm trying to do something back in here where I shouldn't be.
Hey, Matt.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's just a box that's sitting on top of your lathe, yes?
Yeah. I tell you what. Let me pop some of this stuff out. It's just got 2 magnets in the bottom of it.
Okay.
And the magnets are what hold it on top of the lathe.
So you just epoxied your magnets on top of the metal part on your lathe.
No, the magnets are in the bottom of the wood. Okay. What I did is I built a little sort of a thing that's the same size as that black pad that comes with the Powermatic. And then I used my Forstner bits and glued the magnets into the holes. So I don't know.
Hey, Matt.
Yes, sir.
I got the same thing on my Powermatic, and I use those little magnetic trays from or not from Home Depot, from Harbor Freight. You
Yeah,
can
those
get
are
round ones or square ones or rectangular shaped ones.
Yep.
And it's not as big as your wooden box, and it doesn't hang over the edge.
I got my magnetic tray from Harbor Freight right here.
Right. Same
Where'd
thing.
you get those magnets?
The
Probably
magnets
have
you can
about
order
10
a
of
bunch
them things.
Yeah, a bunch of them places. Like there's my Powermatic thing that going on top of the lathe, and it's I use that to measure.
A great source for magnets is K&J Magnetics. K&J, the ampersand and.
Got it. Thank you, Eddie.
Be careful of the thickness and the size.
I use them on all kinds of things. I use them to hold tools. I use them to hold, like if I'm playing something out on paper, I use it to hold the paper on some places. So I use them in a lot. You know, some of my tools have magnets on the handles. So
the magnet on the metal trays is strong enough to go right through that rubber pad. You don't have to take the pad off.
There you go. I didn't know that they were strong. That strong.
The handy part of that little tray is if you are having difficulties with the little screws when you're changing the jaws on your chucks, that little tray right under your chuck when you're changing it catches those screws.
Yeah, mine has my faceplate screws. Y'all were talking about faceplate screws earlier. That's, you know, mine has got my 1 1/4 inch Spax faceplate screws in there. So that's where I keep them. But I do the same. I do the same thing. I do the same thing with. I probably have another one around here. I do the same thing with my faceplate screws.
Matt, did you see what AEW had a thing on wood drying? I guess about a month ago, and they talked about microwave drying wood in the microwave. And the way he did it was a little different. I have not tried it, but he took a 10-inch bowl, rough turned it, put it in the microwave for about 15 minutes, but put a cup of water in with it. Important, the water sat in there with it, and then he ran it. He did not open the door, let it cool all the way back down before he opened the door. And the key was that he was pushing it, maintain moisture on the outside of the bowl, which helped reduce checking on the outside while it dried. It forced the water from the inside out.
Well, that seems like that would work. I mean, I'm certainly open to suggestion. I will say this is that I've set 2 pieces on fire in the microwave drying them. And one of them was a smaller piece, what I do is I rough turn also. Okay, I rough turn to about 3/4 inch or an inch thick, and then I microwave dry. And one of the reasons why I microwave for say 3 to 7 minutes is I want to be able to catch any micro cracks that develop. So if you start getting like about the second or third time, after you're done, like the third time, you might see some micro cracks start to develop. And at that point, you hit them with real thin super glue and you fix the problem. And a micro crack is something very thin and very small.
And what this guy was saying is keeping the cup of water in the microwave and letting it cool down in the microwave prevented those micro cracks or reduced those micro cracking on the outside of the thing because it's not drying real quick on the outside, but the moisture in there stays with it to help reduce the micro cracking on the outside of it.
No, it makes sense. Makes sense.
It made perfect sense. I haven't tried it, but it made perfectly good sense.
That's the whole purpose of putting it in the paper bag. And some people put shavings in the paper bag with it too. You want to reduce the rate of moisture. You want it to come out evenly. So that's the whole purpose of the paper bag is the paper bag is containing the moisture, around the wood. So it comes out evenly. You don't get one spot that's dry and one spot that's still wet, So that would make sense too. I mean, the paper bag thing works for me. But maybe I'll try that this summer. So thanks, Craig.
It was on AAW. Check out what they said, what the guy said. It sounded pretty interesting.
I will. I'll look it up. Absolutely. Thank you.
Hey, Matt.
Yes.
You've been giving us some pretty good tips and stuff tonight.
Amen.
Wanted to thank you for that.
Well, thank you. You're welcome.
You've got a problem there with your wire. So I'm going to give you a tip. You need to get a bobby pin.
I'm sorry, with my what?
The wire from your headset
Oh, yeah.
keeps coming off your shoulder.
Well, usually,
Get a bobby pin and put that wire.
What's a bobby pin? My hair's like this. I've never had a bobby pin.
A safety pin will work. Pin that thing to your hat, and it'll stay off behind your shoulder.
Well, usually what I do is I put the headset on before I put on the sweatshirt, the hat, and the hood. So it's down my back inside the sweatshirt, and it's not a problem. Just tonight I did.
There you go. Okay.
Thank you. That's a good suggestion. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And if y'all really want to hurt his feelings, mail him a comb.
Yeah, I had somebody mail me bacon spice the other day, and I don't even know who that is yet. So,
Eddie, when's the last time you've seen a comb?
Say again, Ronnie.
I said, when's the last time you've seen a comb?
My wife uses one occasionally.
There you go.
You see it laying on the counter.
Yeah. My granddaughter asked me what happened to my hair. She look at my wedding pictures from 30 years ago or so. And she looks at me, she looks at the picture, she looks back at me and she says, okay, I got to ask, what happened to the hair? So, sometimes they can be brutal.
I can relate, Eddie.
Are there any other questions I can answer?
Yes. Can you tell us about your camera system? What are you using there?
I am using webcams. This camera here is a Logitech C920 that I bought in January before the prices went through the roof and they became hard to find. The other two were both $40. That one and my tailstock one are both $40 Chinese cameras I bought when I could find them. So they're all just webcams. They all look like this. They're just various different. I'm a very frugal guy. I don't have a lot of extra money to spend on stuff, so I went cheap. So
you run through a switcher or through your laptop?
It's all going right to the laptop via USB. I am using vMix software that allows me to switch between the cameras. And it lets me do things like put a PowerPoint up if I want to. So that's all through vMix software, but you can do it just straight through Zoom if you wanted to.
Are you on a Mac or DOS?
I'm on DOS. I'm Windows 10. It's an old i5 laptop, and on Lucid, if you guys are interested in doing the cameras and stuff, lucidwoodturners.com is a great website to get in touch with. They've got a lot of tips and tricks and people who will help you through stuff. There's a lot of tech discussion on there that's above my pay grade, but one of the things that they recommend was that you use at least an i7 laptop. This is an i5 laptop. It's old. It's what I had. So I adapted and improvised, and it seems to work pretty good. So.
Thank you.
Yep.
vMix will not run on a Mac. It has to run on a Windows-based machine.
Yeah, there is software on a Mac that will do the mixing, the camera mixing for you. I am not conversant with it because I don't have a Mac, but I know that there is stuff that works on the Mac if that's what you want to do. One of the things that they do say is that the USB platform will not allow you to put two USB 2.0 webcams on the same hub. So you've got to have, realistically, if you're going to run 3 webcams and they're all USB and they're all USB 2.0, you got 3 USB ports in your computer for it. It doesn't matter how many hubs you stick on there, they'll conflict with each other or something. So hope that answers that question.
Anybody else from that tonight?
Matt, what was the name of the website to get tips about the cameras?
lucidwoodturners.com. I'll put it in chat here.
Remember, folks, you can save the chat. You go to the chat section, lower right-hand corner, 3 little dots in a square, click it and say save chat. But do it before you leave.
Let me do it this way. I sent it to somebody, so woodturners.com. All right, I can't see what's happening in chat. Something's funky with my chat tonight, so.
It's there. It's there, Matt.
Thank you. You do have to join Lucid Woodturners to see the forums, but the forums are worth it. There's a lot of tech discussion. Some people are using some really nice camera setups with camcorders and HDMI switching and so on that gives you some really nice pictures and so on. But I don't have that.
Matt, the quality pictures are great.
Thank you. I am a little unhappy with the color correction on the Chinese cameras. If I could get 2 more Logitech cameras, I would use those because I think that the light correction and the color representation on the Logitech cameras, the C920 and the C922, are better. But that's a personal opinion based on my own experience. I need a lot of light when I turn, so I've got some fairly bright. I go with high lumen LEDs. And it tends to wash out a bit in the cameras. To give you an idea, when I turn off the main overhead light on my lathe, this is what I look like. Okay, it's you know, I think that the color correction and the light management is better on the Logitech cameras. That's my own experience based on my lighting here. So. And I know that the Logitechs are really hard to find, but you can find these inexpensive Chinese webcams, and they will set you up. You know, if you want to do this, you can get it done this way. So, and building these camera arms, these articulating arms, that's a lot of fun. Figuring out how it all works and making it work, and being able to do things like adjust the camera out to where you want it, and you know,
nice.
So I can do lots of stuff with this. So, rotate it out over top of the lathe bed and zoom it back up, so on. So good times.
Nice.
So you got to use that scrap 2x4 and scrap plywood for something. Might as well be articulating camera and light arms. What's that?
You're already in the 2x4 club. It's all right.
Good. I was making the gnome noses and gnome cap top things on a 2x4 the other day. So
it's an important point. It's not as easy to cut as some woods. It will develop your skills.
Yep. It doesn't dull your tools as hard because it's soft. You really got to slice the wood well, or you get tear out quick. So it helps train your tool presentation.
Yep, sure does. Matt, I really appreciate you spending your time with us this evening and giving us all these tips and hints and walk around your shop. I appreciate it. Folks, a lot of the information that you've asked for tonight is in our chat section. If you'd like to check it out, do so. And as I said a moment or so ago, you can save the chat to your computer, but we also save it to our website. David does that. So if you'd like to take a look at what we do on our programs, it's all there. And we go right to it. Let me explain here. We do gallery each week. We don't call it show and tell. We call it gallery. And Dane Chandler handles it for us. And here's what you do. You go to chat and you just say, I have a piece to show. Dane will put you in the order that he receives them. He'll make sure you're on the air or you're still there. And then we'll click on you, we'll spotlight you, and you can show us the piece. But we want to see more than the piece. We want to know what kind of wood it is, give us an approximate size, and what did you do to finish it? And then did you did any magic to make it turn? So with that in mind, we're going to go to Dane and see what he's got this evening. Dane, we got some people in the bullpen tonight. Dane was out of the meeting for a minute. I got to kick him back in. We're having some problems with linkage tonight, and getting some folks to stay in. We've lost a few times, but we're still there. We're still chunking along. Dane, if you'd say something, I can find you. You know the deal.
Okay, I'm back. Can you hear me now?
I got you now. I just can't find you. Okay, do it again.
Can you hear me? Can everybody else hear me?
I hear you. Just can't find you to spotlight you.
Oh, I don't need to be spotlighted for anything. But...
Well, I got to put you in as wait, I saw you just now. Now we got you. Now we got you. I got to make you a co-host in order for you to click in and out and spot people. I think some days gets a little more complex than I'd like it to be. All right, Dane, we got anybody in bullpen tonight?
Yes, sir, we do. Brent, you are up, buddy.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good evening.
Last week I asked you about grain direction on a leg bowl that I was planning on making. Well, here it is. Here's the leg bowl.
Nice.
It's a piece of butternut. I don't know the dimensions on whatnot, but it's I cut a dado in the top here, put the bottom in with a black or resin, and then put crushed clamshells in the top there and filled it with clear resin. Unfortunately, the black resin seeped through to the inside of the bowl. So my solution was to ebonize the inside with India ink and such. And it's finished with OB Shine Juice. So
that's what you call design adjustment, not now.
It's adjusted. So, yeah. But it was probably the most challenging thing I've turned to date. So
nice job.
That's it. So anyway.
Very nice.
So, that's all I got tonight.
All righty. Thank you. Doug Miller, you're going to be up next.
Doug Miller. There he is.
Here we go. All right. I got a couple of things one I'm going to show you. One's just an idea. But I think last week I showed you the pine goblet. This one is poplar. It is 3 3/4 inches tall, 1 1/4 inch diameter across the cup. And that stem's a full 1/16 of an inch. And the way I was able to get it that small was I used negative pressure on my tailstock. So I wrapped the cup with tape, connected to the cone center, and pulled instead of pushed into the cup. That made it where it wouldn't vibrate while I was cutting that slim stem.
What do you mean negative pressure?
Outward pressure.
Well, instead of pushing into the cup, I pulled out away from the headstock.
Using tape.
I taped the cup to the cone center and then used my tailstock to pull away from the headstock.
Neat idea, Doug. Neat.
That is a great idea.
Well,
Yeah,
if
good
you're
idea.
pushing in and you get down close to a 16th, that stem's going to bend and it won't last long once it bends.
Great
If you're going to
idea.
go thin,
Crazy.
you got to go with negative pressure. Pull away from it.
Yep. So you tape your live center to your tailstock, and you tape your piece to your live center, and maybe you make a jam chuck, or you use a rubber chucky, or use a tennis ball or something like that to hold it, and then you put outward pressure on your tailstock. You move your tailstock out.
Yep.
Right. I just used a piece of paper towel in the cup, run my cone center into the cup, taped them all together, and then pulled away from the headstock.
What tool did you use? A skew?
Cut? No, bowl gouge. Bowl gouge and a detail gouge.
For the middle part?
Yes, sir.
Jiminy. Size.
Yep. That's what I do too. Very nice job, Doug. Very nice.
Yeah.
Very.
My tool of comfort is the 1/2-inch bowl gouge, so that's why I use it.
Yep.
What's your
Especially
finish
for the stems like that. Yeah, I'm with you, man.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
we
you gotta
need a
be
raise.
comfortable.
We need a raise of hands. How many folks want to see Doug do this demo?
We all
Okay,
do.
Yes, yes.
Yes, definitely.
We
even
can do
this, the chucking technique.
Sure.
All right.
Very nice, Doug.
Thank you, Doug. All right, man, that's nice.
Thank you all.
See, when he talks about something like negative pressure, y'all jump on board. Yeah, it's the way it is. First time I did that was with Ellie Avacera, and he turned a dead man to screw onto his one-way revolving center, and he put a piece on it. He shaped it to match the cup, and we slipped it on, one band of tape, and we were there. It's a nifty idea. You often forget about it because tailstocks are supposed to push, not pull. All right, who else you have there,
Let's see,
Dane?
we got Paul in the UK. Hey, Paul.
There he is. Paul,
Hey,
we're
mate.
with you.
Steve.
Just trying to find the button to unmute yourself. Right, I've got just finding the picture. There it is. There you go. Hopefully you can see that.
Now, that's the biggest toothpicks I've ever seen.
Yes. This is my entry for the 2x4 club. I think those are made out of pine.
Oh, nice.
They're just under 3 foot long and about 1.5 inches diameter.
Well, you are a member of the 2x4 club now.
Yeah.
Those are big knitting needles.
Knitting needles, yeah.
But those were the smaller set. I'll show you the bigger ones.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, they were 11 needles. But cheated slightly with those. I saw these are made for a lady who wanted some supersized knitting needles for knitting this really thick, chunky wool, and she said she wanted some about 2 meters in length. And what I did there, I don't know if you can see from the pictures, but the tips are pine and the back end is pine, but in between there's a length of 1.5 inches plastic tube, which is like plumbing pipe. So you can take the caps off, you can put different length tubes on if you want to adjust the length of the needles. I mean, those were the idea of the length of that is to knit a whole, basically a whole bedspread for a double bed out of a single piece. So that's why she wanted them that long. I don't know how successful she was in knitting the actual blanket or whatever it was, but anyway, she was happy with the end result, and just thought I'd show you those, something different.
Very good.
Nice. Unique.
Yeah, I only made one pair of the big ones, but the little ones, she keeps coming back to me for more of these. She usually orders them 6 sets at a time. So she's quite into the knitting, and I think she does workshops and classes for people and sells them on to some of her sort of that she works with. So yeah, I've done a few of those over the last few years.
Yeah, I
Thank
thought
you,
maybe
Paul.
for a gag. I thought you were just doing them for a gag or something there.
No, they actually get used. Yeah, so
Right on.
yeah.
Thank you, Paul. That's some beautiful work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We got somebody else in the bullpen tonight.
No, that's it for the moment. Unless I
All right.
missed anybody when I had to get out and come back on.
Okay.
I
Remember,
have
folks,
several
if you want to
pieces to
show
look at.
something, just put it in the chat. Dave Leader, you want to show something tonight, sir?
Yeah, could I do that?
I certainly can.
All right. This was either my mother's or my wife's mother's. I think some of your old timers might recognize this.
Yep. Mending socks.
Yep, it's called a darning egg. And so I turned one out of a piece of oak. And last week I mentioned that I made a burning tool out of a hacksaw and a coat hanger. So that's how I burned this black line in there. And Eddie wanted to see it. So there it is. It's just a dirty old hacksaw, and I put a pretty big, it's probably 3/16 coat hanger in here. You know, I also use the wires and with the wooden pegs, but this is a heavier coat hanger for bigger, thicker lines.
Then that's
So
the idea. So if you shop in a garage sale and see an old hacksaw laying around, guess what? Pick it up.
yeah, so that's how I made this line here in this red cedar piece.
Nice. That's all one piece of wood.
Yes, that's one piece. The bottom is part of the same piece of wood.
Wow.
You can see the knot going through.
Dave, that first piece you showed, what is it called and what do you do with it?
It's called an egg, a darning egg. And you take your sock and you put this in your sock, and then you can sew a hole in your sock and repair it.
I don't have any use for that.
Do you have socks, Ronnie?
Ain't no way I'm gonna get a soccer pad.
And the final thing I wanted to show was I got this idea from Theo Horolampu, where he got some MDF and some loop and some sandpaper, and he put his on a small faceplate. I just used the screw and put the screw in my chuck. And you use this with your tool rest to sand some work. And I just finished this yesterday and I used it today. It worked very well. This paper is drywall paper, but it works fine.
Great.
That's it for me today.
What's your grit on your sandpaper there, Dave?
This grit is 150.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you, Dave. Nice. Remember, folks, if you got a piece you'd like to show
Nice
tonight, let Dane know and we'll get up to you.
I got smaller ones of those sanding mandrels I made, only I use tenons and just stick them in my chuck. Same sort of idea as you put the hook on the wood and you use the cloth back sandpaper, cut big circles out of them. Same idea. Yep.
Okay. We got Doug back up on the screen again. Doug, you.
Hey, I had an idea. This is something we did for my son's girlfriend for Christmas. Out and about, you can find these imitation candles. They usually have a plastic type of wax on the outside. Candle or a light switch on the bottom, put a battery in there. But you can buy these, especially this time of year, pretty inexpensively. $10 or less. A lot of them $5, a lot smaller than this, of course. But just turn a nice little candle stand. I did one for her out of cherry. Took me, I don't know, an hour or so to turn it. I was taking my time. In fact, I've got a video on YouTube doing it. Talked way more than I should have, but it came out really nice. She loved it. And so she'll take this LED candle back to her dorm room at school where they can't have candles, but she loves candles. So she'll just enjoy it and have a good time. And it made a very inexpensive, very nice gift.
Yep. Good idea.
Really nice. Anybody else up right now, Dane?
Yeah, we got a few coming in now. Let's go to Dick Mueller. There he is.
Can I share screen?
That's Dick Mueller.
Yep. Can I share screen?
Hold on, we can get there. We should be up, Dick.
Okay.
I'm just seeing you.
You're not seeing my screen?
I see your face, that's all.
Just your face.
Okay, just a minute.
You have your video on?
Yep. I need to click on your share screen though. Okay, there we go. You see that?
Well, now we see it.
Yes.
So this was my first tool rack 10 years ago when I started turning, and I figured it would hold everything, every tool that anybody would ever need or ever own. And as the note says, I was off by a few. And so what I ended up doing to get it closer to my lathe was, this is a platform that rides in the waves just like a live or your tailstock, and slides back and forth on the lathe, and it rotates 360 degrees as the second picture shows. And the item that's underneath the platform that rides below the waves is stopped by the normal pin there that's circled. Just like for the tailstock, it prevents you from accidentally sliding off the end. And then you see it in the third photo there where I've rotated around and gotten it out of the way in case I needed something. My table saw sits next to it. And so once in a while I need to pivot it around to that position. But that really works nice for me. It holds the 10 tools that actually about the 3 or 4 tools that I almost always use. And then also any specialty tools that I'm using on a given project. And on top of that, headstock, we were showing headstock things before. I've always had what I call a chuck garage. So it sits up just like Mark's does within where that pad area was in the Powermatic. And I've got a Lazy Susan underneath this. And so as I spin it around, the second photo shows 3-inch sanding pads on that side that just push in and out. On the back side, I have my D-Way beating tools and diamond tool and a special spade bit that I built with a rounded edge for going in and drilling the depth holes and bowls. And the last side is holding a 2-inch sanding disc. So anyway, that's extremely handy. And on that right-hand photo, you'll see the circled items below. You talked about magnets, and I use magnets to hold my Vic Mark and one-way keys and chucks on. They're just handier than Dickens. So I agree with everybody else that they're very convenient. And so those are a couple of ideas. And one thing I haven't heard too many people talk about is curtains. I started out with a jet mini lathe, and I ended up ultimately curtaining it off, throwing chips back on my workbench and other places. And so I just use Walmart shower curtains and 1/2-inch conduit strapped to my, I have a basement shop, so they're just strapped up to the joist. And then when I got my Powermatic, I was able to extend those, and now I have curtains that I can pull and go all the way around my Powermatic too. And it really keeps the mess from going all over the shop. So those are some ideas that somebody might find handy. And oh, and I also do this to the bottom side of my Powermatic. I've put a couple of sticks up on the top, and then I just wrap visqueen around that and use the bottom for storage. And you have to keep all the shavings from falling down there. And those colored dots you see here, there's another set over here. Those are my burn wires, and they too have magnets in them. And I just have 3 different sizes of burn wires for making real fine and a medium and a real strong black burn mark on projects. Oh,
Great setup, Dick. How are you holding your chuck garage on top of your lathe there? I really like that.
The chucks.
Okay, it's just a weight. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and the other thing you'll notice is that the right-hand picture, you'll notice that the housing is actually not centered on the carousel. It sticks out more when the chuck section is facing forward. And I did that because when I spin it around to get to my D-way tools on the back, I don't have so much protruding out over my spindle. And so that really helped a lot from getting in my way.
Some great ideas there. Thank you.
Dick, there's a question about what is holding on your sanding pads?
My sanding pads.
Yeah, so they're on your right-hand picture, the sanding disc pads.
Well,
what's holding them?
That's something I came up with a number of years ago. The hole is the exact same diameter as the roll-lock fastener is that's on those sanding pads. Those come from Woodworking Wonders. And then what you do is you take Tite Bond or any other similar glue, and I laid 2 or 3 layers of that in each of the holes. And I probably did that 2 or 3 times, and it formed just enough of a barrier that I just absolutely screw them in. I just push it up to the hole and give it a half twist, and they go in the hole and they stay there. And I've had this for, oh gosh, at least 6 years, and I've never had to redo a hole. Nothing has ever fallen out. So that technique works very well.
Oh, very good. Nice setup.
Yeah, and you have stuff sticking from the top too, you can see too, in your, I guess your air cleaner remote, or is that vacuum remote?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have on that right-hand photo, the brick wall to the right, I actually went through that block wall and have my my dust collector on the other side. There's the plenum you see behind the shop vac. It's just a plywood box, and I use bent masonite around, and my 6-inch ductwork goes left and right out of that plenum box. And for the items that are in this shop. And then, well, in fact, there's another view of it. And the gate there, I had to make a gate helper stick. So that's a Craig screw and about a 3-foot piece of wood. And
I have exactly the same thing in my shop, Dick. Something very similar.
I just lean over the lathe and I can open and close my gate. And then in the other room, I've gotten a Nida dust collector, and the picture on the left is where my 6-inch pipe comes in. And then for this room, I have another lead going down that wall, and it has a big wide sweep up to the intake for the Oneida. And this is an old enough Oneida that it actually uses aluminum impeller, and the cartridge, the filter cartridge, is inside of this mechanism. And for anybody that has those, it's kind of a pain in the butt when you want to clean your filter. You've got to drop this bottom cone down. So these white circles on the left and the right are cleats, and this is showing a rope that goes up around a pulley, and you can just, once you pull your connection, I can just drop all this down when my bucket's out of the way.
Nice setup.
Very nice. Thank you, Dick. Appreciate you sharing it with us tonight. Boy, that is some nice stuff. And we'd like to see your shop too. So if you've got tips and tricks and things like that, I mean, we all learned a little something from what we just now saw, and it's why we're here. It's coming up on the top of the hour. I'm Captain Eddie Castellan. You're tuned into Worldwide Woodturners, our virtual meeting. We're here each Wednesday evening. I turn a button on a little bit after 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. And tonight we're going to press the off button at 9 p.m. or 9 Central Standard Time, 1 hour from now. I know a lot of things going on right now this time of the year. We're wrapping up and what some folks have thought is an awful year. I can't look at it that way. I made it through that nightmare. I'm coming out on the other side. That's all I can look at. I can't say what's bad and what's good and all that, but maybe it's not up for us to say. So just muddle on through this thing. We'll be better. And please be careful and wear your mask. My wife just gave me 2 new masks today she made from me. I tend to forget it. We'll get out of the car to go someplace and got to go back and get a mask. It's either mask or the casket. That's all there is to it. I can't. We have an uptick on this thing that we're supposed to be kicking its butt on. So let's kick its butt. Anybody else up for oh, wait. Bob asked, can we put those photographs of those items in his shop up on our website? Yes, it's going to be on there. We put the entire program on available to you. So it'll be there and you can stop it and freeze it. Don't know how to print it, but if I can freeze it, I can do a Command Option 3 and I got a picture of it. All right. Jay Sari's got his hand up right now. Jay, what's up?
All right. So when I'm turning a log, say a 10-inch log, and I'm wanting to make a bowl, and I put my faceplate on there, I take my compass and I make the circle. Can you guys give me a tip other than using a dowel rod to put into the center of my faceplate? Is there any other way to get it perfectly centered? Is my question.
Yes. I have several of them for different size. Well, I've had several different size lathes. Mine right now is a 33 because I'm using a one-way, and it looks like a top hat. And the top of the hat is the 33, and then there's a shoulder, and right in the center is a drill point. And I've got a scratch all that fits right in that drill point. I can push the drill point through it, go down and set put this through my faceplate, put the point through it, and I can locate my faceplate dead center of that block. I've seen them for sale in some of the catalog services.
Okay,
but
so
I don't buy anything if I can make it.
So basically what you're doing is you're just turning out a dowel rod with a point on it, and it goes through your faceplate down to the center of your drill hole, I guess.
Yes. All right. You want to call it a dowel rod? Yes. What I'm doing is more like a top hat, so it won't fall through the faceplate, and I have a bit of control over it.
Okay.
You could basically make one on your lathe. You just has to fit between your faceplate hole and have a hole in the center for a drill or something, or a nail.
And because you have to have it centered, the way to get it centered is on your lathe.
Yep.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Quite welcome. Dane, what's up, buddy?
All right. Let me jump over to First Sergeant. See what he's got going on.
Who?
Talk to us, Doug.
Hey, I'm right here.
All right, gotcha.
I am. So I've been in the meeting tonight, but I really haven't been participating. I got my nephew staying with me right now, and he was out in the shop working on a bowl, but it's time for him to go have his FaceTime with his girlfriend, I guess. So I'll show you real quick what my nephew's been working on with me.
Pardon me, Doug. Pardon me, Doug.
Yep.
We have this rule about people bragging about the tools they have.
Oh.
And what they got for Christmas. And
I can show those too. It's right down there. Oh, there it is.
He's terrible.
So my nephew wanted to make a bowl for his girlfriend's dad. And I let him go out to the shed and pick whatever piece of wood he wanted. Of course, he couldn't find a nice round one. So he saw some of my crazy looking bowls made out of weird shaped pieces of wood. And so that's what he wanted to take on. So that's what we've been working on tonight. So the backside's actually the coolest part, where we peeled the bark off and the bugs had really eaten it. He actually got to find one live beetle and one live worm in there. So that was a good experience for him.
Did he eat it?
No, he didn't. I should have had him eat it. You're right. Dang it, I didn't think about that.
Right.
But anyway,
What's your wood, Doug? Is that ash?
That is pine, actually. It's just pine, nothing special. But yep. So I wanted to jump back to what Matt Harber was showing in his shop with the stuff that none of us can remember what it's called. But there it is, and you will find it at Walmart or any of the box stores for in the kitchen aisle, because that's where you normally put this stuff. In my RV, I had it in all the cabinets, kept the dishes and stuff from sliding around. But what I was talking about is, so there it is under my drill press, and then there it is again under my scroll saw. And it just really reduces the vibration of the sliding around. And then since we're doing tips and tricks, I've showed this one once, maybe even 2 times so far. But since we've got some newer turners that have joined us, I'm going to show it one more time. But over here at the dust collector, there's the 4-inch hose that all of us mostly use. But we know that 4-inch hose is very pricey. So what I did was I spun an adapter on my lathe for my regular shop vac hose. And then when I need to clean up in the shop or run it over to my bandsaw, because my bandsaw runs off the 2-inch hose, boom, there we go. So that's just my little tip for tonight.
Doug, for you younger viewers, when I was a kid, we called that shelf paper.
Shelf paper, okay.
For shelf line.
I was hoping I had a new roll in here that still had the wrapper around it, so I could be smart and know what the real name was, but it's not there. So I don't know.
Hey guys, Patrick in the chat says it's called non-skid shelf liner, and I think that's actually the correct name for that stuff.
Yeah,
that's a really big name. Non-skid shelf paper.
Shelf liner. Shelf liner.
Shelf liner. Okay. But yeah, it comes in handy for a lot of different things. So I try to always keep a roll or two of it laying around.
It comes in different thicknesses too, or densities.
Right, and in the tool section, it's like a router pad. And it's twice as or 20 times as much.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, you know what? Speaking of that, I'm going to show you one other thing too that's kind of funny about that. So if you go to the different wood turning sites and you get into the resin stuff, and they have the different mats to put your resin on that are made out of silicone, so it'll pop right off. They're kind of pricey. But this bad boy on Amazon is like $7, and it's just called a baker's mat. It's the same thing. So, yeah. But so I won't brag that I got a new coring system. I'll just show it to you. I haven't got to use it yet, but I only have the one knife, so I can only make a 9-inch. But I'll get some other ones pretty soon. But yeah, I got that bad boy, and then. The wife and kids got tired of hearing my noisy Harbor Freight air compressor, and they went and got me a nice big belt-driven DeWalt one, 30-gallon. That's out in the garage, though. So that's not bragging. I'm just telling you what I got for Christmas. Santa was good to me. Or Hanukkah Claus at our house, since we do both Hanukkah and Christmas, so it's Hanukkah Claus.
So about your max diameter on that will be about 11 inches, Doug.
About 11 on that one. Yeah, that's the smallest knife that it had. But I'll be calling you, Dane, to tell me what the heck I'm doing right or wrong once I do hook it up and start using it.
Not a problem.
Tell you this, man, I gotta up my game on my Christmas list pushing because I didn't get anything for Christmas lathe related, and I got work to do. So thank you for the inspiration, Doug.
I threw some of the wet dry sandpaper in the Amazon cart. My mother-in-law bought it for me, and I opened it up and I was like, yes, that's the sandpaper I wanted. She goes, I've never seen anybody get so excited over sandpaper. I'm like, you don't know, this is good stuff.
Hey, Doug.
Yeah.
Not only did you get all those toys from Santa Claus, but you also got a new shop coming the first of the year.
I do. Well, I don't think it'll be ready by the first of the year, but they were out there working again today. They put the forms in for the cement, so cement should probably be here hopefully soon, but it's delayed just due to COVID, and there's a big construction boom in my area right now. So believe it or not, cement's the hardest thing to come by. But I do got to show you, Ronnie, something. When I was cleaning things up and moving stuff around, I found some. Look at those. So I'm going to have to join the club sooner or later. Now, I got to ask you, though, they're not real 2x4s. They're the cheap 2x3. Does that still count?
Oh, yeah, as long as it's pine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, those are pine.
But I'd pull the nails out first.
Well, okay, but that's going to reduce my chances of going to the ER. No, I'm a capitalist. I try to keep people working as much as I can. That's why I tell the dentist or the hygienist I don't floss. She said, what do you mean you don't floss? I'm like, I don't want to put you out of work. Who's going to clean my teeth if I floss?
Yeah. Oh, boy. We're going to get in trouble with you.
Good.
I know that.
All right. I'll let you guys get back to a turner that knows what the heck they're talking about.
All right, Doug. Thank you, sir.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
All right, Eddie.
Ronnie, I have to mention, we joke about this sometimes, and some folks, new turners, don't follow it. We joke about the 2x4 club. In fact, we have a plaque if you become a member of the 2x4 club. 2x4 is a difficult thing to work with. Ronnie, the first couple of times I went over to Ronnie's place, he'd say, look, we're going to try this. And he'd pull up a piece of 2x4. And he gets the good stuff at Lowe's. But he'd put that up because it was difficult to cut, but nice to work with, because if you made a mistake, you put it in a burn pile, got rid of it. You didn't lose a lot of wood. So we have a challenge out. We occasionally do a challenge. I like to make them a little more regular than we have had in the past, but our challenge is a 2x4 challenge. Here's the deal. You get a piece of 2x4, you turn something out of it, and you send us the photograph. Don't send us a piece. Send us a photograph. You can send it to our club website. There's a link on there, and David will get it. You can email it to us at worldwidewoodturners@gmail.com, and we'd like to see what you make out of it. But as everything else, we want to know approximately how big is it? How'd you turn it? Would you finish it with? If you had some tricks or tips, or if you use carbon, carbide, or whatever, we want to know more about it, because we're going to share that with you, the membership. I think we'll have a little bit of fun with our 2x4 challenge. We're just wrapping up our bottle stopper challenge. Got a lot of input on the bottle stopper challenge. And that was done just for the holidays.
Spotlight me, Eddie.
Whoa, man, look out. I'm getting there, Ryan, I'm getting there.
There you go. That was a Crispin ornaments I did this year. The red part, that is 2x4, and the top and the bottom is maple. And I made a dozen of these for the family this year. So I did that.
What kind of dye did you use?
Huh?
What kind of dye did you use?
That artisan dye.
Got it.
And it's a CA finish.
Is it hollow?
Of course, it's hollow. You got to make them hollow or they're going to bend the tree. And then I also make these little Christmas trees. This is out of 2x4s. And when you make these, there's no sanding or nothing involved, because if you look at a tree, it kind of gives you the effect of the pine needles.
Yeah.
And this is also artisan dye, the green and the brown.
What you're
And-
saying, Ronnie, is on that Christmas tree is you're looking to get the tear out? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah. Yeah, the rougher it is, the more it looks like needles on a tree. And being that it's a 2x4, you can see the grains of the wood. See right there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
It actually smells like a pine tree.
Right, and I make these in 4 different sizes. I make them 3-inch, 6-inch. Let's see, 6-inch, 8-inch, and 10-inch.
Ronnie, I got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you ever turn anything that's not 2x4s?
Sometimes he'll do 2x6.
It should have Ronnie's name on it right there. He's in a
agree.
2x4 turning team.
Hey, Brenda.
Yeah.
A lot of people call me cheap, so that's why I turned 2x4s.
Word is frugal. Frugal.
There you go. There you go.
Frugal. Yeah. See,
I like-
he's teaching Tom Moore how to turn those 2x4s too.
There you go.
All right, let's jump to Johnny. He's got to tip the show.
What you got, Mr. Johnny?
All righty. What I was going to show was somebody had talked about centering a first faceplate, and I'm going to reverse his camera here real quick. And
Jay, this is for you.
Wait a minute. I got to get back to you. Can we get, okay.
okay, I don't know if you can see this faceplate here,
Yes,
but
sir.
basically what I have a steel rod here that's pointed on one end. So
Okay.
where I have my indentation, where my center of my bowl blank or whatever it is, I insert the steel rod over it. And I take the top hat like Eddie was talking about, drop it over the top of it, and use that to center up the faceplate.
Where'd
That's
you
what
get
holds
that?
it together.
Perfect.
One of the guys in the turning club's got a metal lathe, and he made a few of them for us there. So,
But
Oh,
you could make that out of wood too.
yeah, you
Oh, yeah.
could.
yeah, without a doubt, you can do that. It's pretty simple. He just had a stainless rod and put a little point on one end, and then he turned this piece out of aluminum. But you could also make it out of wood. I'd make it out of a good hardwood and turn it down to the size of your faceplate. So.
Great. Ben,
You can just use a big nail for the punch part.
Yeah.
Use a point tool for the punch part.
Yeah.
Well, you
point tool,
could.
nail.
You just have to make your bowl there the same size as whatever you decide to use for the centerpiece there.
Okay.
Well, you could use a barbecue skewer for this.
You could. You're only limited by your own imagination there. On it.
I appreciate that.
But it works great.
right,
I'm
Ron.
not sure a nail will be consistent enough on size and thickness on it because they vary quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Thanks, Johnny.
Oh, you're welcome.
Appreciate it, Johnny.
How you doing, James?
Good. I've got
James
a
is with
little 2x4 item here tonight.
Pull it back right there. There you go.
Yeah.
Hey,
Just a little wine glass.
a wine glass.
Yeah, hold it up a little bit. Communion glass.
Yep.
There you
Made out of 2x4 with a little finial stopper on the top of it. Overall height is about 3 inches. This little
Very
glass
nice.
here is 1.5.
Very nice.
Thank you. It did have a ring on it, but it decided to go south.
Whoops. That didn't work. Pardon me. We're back with you.
Eddie, is Mr. John on tonight?
Mr. John's here. Yes.
Okay. We
Yes,
haven't
John
heard
Brown. John's out of Butler, Pennsylvania. And folks, like James has got Alamo Woodturners on his name tag there. We have a map on our website. On our cover page of our website, we have a map. And on that map is the location of all of our members. We're worldwide. We have people in Australia, we have people in Great Britain, Canada, and America. If you contact us through the website and tell us where you are, our webmaster, who is a master, will add your location. And so we know where all these wood turners are from. Mr. John, are you with us now, sir?
Yeah. If we keep up with this 2x4 turning here, we'll have the big box stores run right out of 2x4s.
Yeah. Don't get the blue ones. Get the pink ones.
Oh,
Mr. John?
Yeah.
We were laughing this morning. Eddie and I was talking, and he says, "You're not going to believe this. It was like 10 o'clock in the morning, and you were already at the website trying to come in."
Yeah.
And we were laughing. We said, "Well, that's our first member tonight."
Dedicated.
Yeah. I got on there this morning. You know why? You know how I happened to get on there was I got up and had my breakfast very early, like 5:30, and then sat back down in a chair and fell asleep. And I woke up and it was still dark outside, and I looked at my watch and it was after 8 o'clock, and I thought, oh my goodness, I'm missing this virtual meeting tonight here. And it took me a few minutes to get my brain in gear that it was morning yet. and not night. I thought, phew, man, I've still got 12 hours to go.
Oh, you gave us a good chuckle this morning.
Well, that's good. I like to keep people on the happy side.
You are.
I'm going to be up early tomorrow morning, right down in that wood shop, but I've got problems, you see. The bearings on this Jet Mini lathe are pretty bad. And they're supposed to have ordered new bearings yesterday or today, so I'm hoping they're coming very soon. But oh man, it's making a lot of noise.
You might have to order them for them.
Well, I might have to. I'll have to keep after the maintenance man here at this outfit and see if he got them ordered. They like to order them from Granger because they've got an account there. So I looked up the part numbers and everything, and they're supposed to be coming.
Well, you're going to have a better bearing than the ones that came on that lathe than if you're getting them that way.
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. Yeah. Well, the man that used it before me, he was liking to turn as big a pieces of bowls that he could, and he told me it was out of balance, and he had to build a lathe stand for it and put 200 pounds of sand in it to hold it down to keep it from jumping around. So, you know, that shock had to go through those bearings somehow.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Crazy.
I'm not a great fan of overweighting a lathe.
Neither am I. I never weighted a lathe. If I couldn't get it in round enough that I could get it trued up right then, I wouldn't bother turning it. But I didn't like to have them jumping around.
Yeah, there's better ways of doing it than just by trying to overload it to keep it steady.
That's what the speed control is for.
Well, yeah, and well, this mini lathe sitting on this stand, it's got so much weight in it, I can't grab a hold of it and slide it around. It's heavy. So we'll see. I might have to take it off of there someday and put it on a lathe stand that I can sit down at, because my hips and legs aren't doing so very good.
And you got the maintenance guy there to help you.
Pardon me?
You got the maintenance man there to help you, right?
Yeah, well, he's so busy he can't help me. I'll get the fellow that still works in the wood shop there sometimes. He does flat work most of the time.
Go to Northern Tools. They sell a nice elevated stool with a backrest and all, and it's adjustable.
Yeah, I know, but the way this stand's built, I can't use it.
No.
He doesn't have it set out to the front edge of it, and he's got the legs splayed out too, so that
Oh,
you
okay.
can't get in close enough when you're setting at it.
Oh, okay.
And it's a little bit too high because he's taller than I am. I'm only 5'4", and he's taller, so he's got it up about maximum there now. And I had a good one at home, and I still do. I'd made a sit-down lathe stand to put mini lathes on, and but there's not enough room in the wood shop here to put it in there. And it had double locking casters on it. It really worked good, and I could set out with a secretary's chair, and with casters on it, and work at it that way. I also had a one-way 1236 sit-down lathe, but my niece has that, and there's no room in the shop here for that, or I would have it here.
Robust makes a really nice, I call it a cock over. I built one
Yeah.
for a good friend that would cock over.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Jack. Hey, Jack.
Yeah.
You think you could make a subfloor that would be just in your area where you have the lathes, so that when you raise it up, so that you'll be there level with it?
Well, I could do that. I've thought of that, but as I said there a minute ago, the stand that it's on isn't made properly because the legs are splayed out toward the front.
Yeah.
And the lathe isn't setting in the front. And that particular model of a jet lathe doesn't have little ears sticking out the end on the feet of it to run bolts down through. These are up in the bottom, and you have to get
No,
underneath.
I don't mean that. I mean for you.
Yes, I know.
To stand on a block and raise you up.
Yes,
so
I
that
know
you
what
would
you're
be.
talking about, but yeah. I could do it, but I'd have to move the lathe on the stand and remodel that some to get in close enough.
Oh.
Yep.
Thank you, Jack. Appreciate it. And
Yep, you're quite welcome. I've enjoyed all the chit chat on there tonight, but so well, I hope everybody has a good New Year's. Here, you know, tomorrow's the last day of the year here, so you're
Happy New Year, bud.
I see where Miss Kim's checking out tonight. She's got to go take care of family. We appreciate her being with us this evening. As always, she shares some wisdom with us, and a pleasure to chat with. And we have a few other folks that are signing in and out tonight. We're at about 70 plus members this evening. And remember, this is free. If you don't believe us, check us out. We are absolutely poor. I mean, free. All right, we're back to Matt Harber again. Hey, Matt.
I just wanted to say that I was hunting around in my shop, and I've got the bobby pin solution here to hold my cord.
There you go.
There you go. That looks pretty good.
Nice job, Matt.
Perfect.
Nice job.
I think Brenda had a prettier one, but yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, well, I'll have to get out the paints and stuff and see what I can do.
Okay, a little.
I think
late.
in this club, we're going to change the name from Bobby Pin to Brenda Pin, since Brenda was the one that told me needed it. Those are now Brenda Pins.
Oh boy.
Add some glitter to that thing. You need some sparkle.
You know, that's actually a pretty good idea. Some kind of holding device of some kind. So whatever it takes.
Now, y'all do remember you have Doug Rote giving you input on this. Be careful.
Eddie.
Yes, sir.
In 2021, we ought to push the phrase, "This is the greatest free show on earth."
There you go.
As long as we don't get sued by the Barnum and Bailey group, I'm all right with that.
No, they out of business.
Oh, okay.
Hey, you guys remember the Mad Max movie, right? With Mel Gibson?
Yeah.
And Apocalypse and stuff? That was set in 2021. Keep that in mind.
That's crazy.
Could be worse.
Right.
I'm old enough.
It was filmed about 20 kilometers from here.
Was it?
Yeah.
Very cool.
You have to see what David Donald looks like tonight. Let me see if I can get it up here. Donald, can somebody catch Donald and put him up on there?
Yeah,
Donald's our Australia Woodturner. There he is.
There, look at that fella.
Oh my God. between him and Jeff.
Yeah. And Jeff, if y'all wondered about those Australian wood turners, this should tell you about them right there.
Donald is closer to the New Year's than all of us because it's now it's past noon time where Donald's at.
That's New Year's Eve now.
Yep, it's already New Year's Eve.
Right.
They're
Good
massive
to have you with us
fire
here.
there now.
Great. We still have a time to do a few more galleries. As I said earlier, we're going to pull the button at 9 o'clock tonight. And if things slow down, we'll get out a little bit earlier. We're at 70 members still. So if you have something to show, let Dane know. We will get you up right now and talk about it. We remember size, finish, wood. That's important because we're sharing your ideas and your techniques with folks. And that's what we want.
Can I share something?
Okay, hold on. Who's talking now?
Harold?
There he is. Hi, Harold. Wait a minute. We'll get you back, Harold. All right, now we got you.
Got him.
Oh, pop him back out. There we go. Whoa. I've seen your work before.
No, this is my first one.
That is nice.
Oh, then if it ain't you, you are running in some big crowds here, buddy. Oh, that is beautiful.
Yes, great.
How many pieces?
What?
How many
Is
pieces?
that segmented or beaded?
You're breaking up.
Is
He
that
was asking
segmented?
how many pieces?
How many pieces?
It's 40 rings. It's 40 rings tall and 11 3/4 inch in diameter.
It is beautiful.
How many pieces of wood make up each ring?
Let's see, 24.
That's basically a bowl from a board that's been laminated. Twisted.
Oh, okay.
In California, they call these dizzy bowls.
Yes.
Yep.
You can see why, right?
Nice job.
Oh, yeah.
That
I'm
is
trying
pretty
to
awesome.
look at it, but I'm really dizzy.
So what type of
Very
wood do you
nice.
have?
Hey,
This
what
reminds
type of
me of-
finish did you use on that? Was that, did you spray on lacquer?
Polyurethane,
Brushed it?
sprayed.
Okay.
And it's probably got about 8 coats on it right now.
That is gorgeous.
It is
Flawless.
absolutely beautiful.
Al, will
Thank
you
you.
send us a photograph to put on our website, sir?
I will try.
Okay.
I'll
If you would.
try to figure it out.
All right. Well, we appreciate that. It's all about sharing here. Thank you, Harold. Very much appreciate your
Thank you.
participation this evening.
Thanks.
Dane, you're up.
All right. So Brent's got a question. Let me spotlight him. Go ahead, Brent.
I just wondered, anybody have any good ideas on how to store these little 2-inch sanding discs, like these little things? I was thinking about making a little rack with dowels to sit or something, but there's got to be something better. I'm just not.
Brent, I just grabbed a small little thing at like my local big box store, and I keep them in here.
Oh, wait. We
I mean,
got
it's just designed to.
Hold on, Matt.
All right.
Brent,
I can
this is
spotlight
what-
myself if you want. There you go.
Okay.
Now,
That'd be a way to go.
don't miss it. Wally World, I don't go there anymore. Wally World sells the ink pen boxes or pencil boxes for school supplies, and they knock them off at like $5 for $1 sometimes.
And so I just
Are they
use,
cloth back?
and I keep us when I'm ready to use one, I just yank it through the hole and then stick it on the stick it on the Velcro back and good to go.
You just use a drill bit for that or something, or put those holes in?
No, I've got my regular little soft mandrel made up for them. I just stick them on here, and then from there, stick it in my inertia sander.
Okay, I think I got you.
Clint, Harber put something on chat.
Yeah, I use one of those as well, and
So
I
I
just
just slice the hole off and then stick it on the inertia
Okay.
and go at it.
What about a recipe card file holder?
yeah, I've got a little box.
That
The problem
has-
is-
I just use these, guys. I just have this little plastic box, and I just put them in here.
I'm just trying to find a way to keep them sorted so I don't have to dig through a pile of 20
Well,
different grits.
I don't sort them. I just
Separate Ziploc baggies.
I make them in stacks, so they're 100. So I just go stack, next one on the stack, and so on.
Oh, that's interesting.
So they're 100, 150, 220, 320, 400. That's my stack.
And so that's how I have mine on the dowel, you know, the various grits, you know, smallest grit at the bottom, and then, you know, 6 or 7 of each grit, you know, just going up layers on the
Hey,
dowel.
Grant,
Yeah.
I use a wooden yardstick, and you put the Velcro on the yardstick, and then you the little sandpapers will adhere to the Velcro.
Uh-huh.
And I have that right on the lathe, and I'll pull it off, use it, and put it back to the yardstick.
Yeah.
And it works great.
Yeah, I was going to put some of that Velcro. I got a little cabinet next to my lathe that I was just going to put on the inside of the door, but I was just trying to find a way of storing I ordered like 1,000 of these today, and I was just, of multiple grits, and I was just trying to figure out a way of storing them.
Go to Harbor Freight. They have the plastic bins in many different sizes.
That's a good idea.
Brent, I use a shipping tube.
Or you can use a Fenwick tackle box.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
I
good
use
idea,
a
too.
shipping tube from the post office. That's the right diameter.
Cool.
Okay. That's a good idea. Yeah.
And it's just another box you got to store.
Yeah,
Right.
Well, I cut
my door.
Vince's Wooden Wonders has a box designed exactly to hold all of those. If you go there, he's got one that's got several compartments and to put the disc in.
What's that called? Where's that called?
It's at Vince's Wood and Wonders.
Vince's Wood and Wonders. Okay. I'll look
Yep.
that up.
Yeah.
Who Cap Medi introduced me to Vince, by the way. Thank you, Cap.
All right, that's Vince's VINCES WOODN. There's no E in there. Wonders, and Vince is a nice guy. He's the guy you talk to when you call.
Yeah. I bought a bigger plastic box than the one that Matt has, and I took wood and separated partitions so that I could put each grit in each one of the little compartments there. And I can open the lid and I have access to all the different grits there.
And if the
Hey, I've got a drawer that I partitioned off with scrap 6mm MDF into just the right size to put them in. And I've probably got 30 different grits in there. Not that I use the fine ones very often.
Thank you, Donald.
Good.
It's about 1/2 and we're chatting about wood turning on Worldwide Wood Turners. Our website's worldwidewoodturners.org. If you wish to participate in the program, you can do so right now. If you're a new joiner or a new member, or you want to invite a new member, if you go to worldwidewoodturners.org, on the cover page, there's a clock that'll tell you when the next meeting will start. And to the right of that is the button for you to click and go through the process. No money, no change of hands, no credit card, no checks, nothing. You're invited to be part of this program. And we're always looking for demonstrators. I mean, we hooked somebody in just a few minutes ago. to do a demonstration for us. And we'd like to, if you like, we would like to do one with you. Mike Morris has got his hand up. Mike, let me see if I can do this. Mike, you got to unmute yourself, sir.
Okay. You got me now?
Got you now, sir.
Okay. I got a couple of pieces I was going to show here that I've done. I've been using the blue beads to dry my wood, and I've had some really, really good results. This is a piece that was dripping wet when I turned it. It's popcorn tree wood. And so that I dried it like in 1 day and a half. This is some red oak that I had cut that had fallen during the storm. It was also wet, and I dried it with the blue beads. The finish on these is just blacker.
Mike, tell us how you drying it.
Sir?
Tell us how you drying that wood.
With those blue silica beads.
I don't know what that is. Anybody know?
Can you explain?
I'm actually trying to put a little thing together to kind of explain what I'm doing to kill everybody about.
Okay, good.
If you send us on to it, we'll include it on our website, sir.
Yes,
you
sir.
get them you can get them in your pair of shoes when you buy new shoes too.
You can buy them on Amazon if you'll do a search on them. They're just blue silica beads.
Okay, blue silica beads.
Yes, sir.
Is that like that damp
And
sprayed or whatever? Damp.
club members actually bought a bunch of them, and several of us bought in on when he got them. Look, I dry this thing. It was dripping wet. I dried it 4 hours. I let it rest for an hour. I think I may have even put it in a microwave. Let it set overnight. The next day I turned it. Turned it.
And how long do those blue silica beads last?
Well, the nice thing about the blue silica beads is when you put them in there, when they absorb all the water they can, they turn pink. When they turn pink, you put them in a convection oven and they go back to blue and get reused. They don't ever wear out.
All right, all right.
We had those beads, used them in the Air Force. It's called desiccant. And we used them, we used to reheat them as well and reuse them and such. But if you're searching for them, search for desiccant.
Okay, thank you.
Those are supposed to be poison though, aren't they?
They are toxic.
Only if you eat them.
Yeah, okay.
From what I understand, they're not very toxic. They just say don't eat them from the containers, but they're not really toxic.
You can use diatomaceous earth as well. It's used in potting soils and things like that, but it will also pull moisture the same way.
Yeah. Well, I know I've had some good success with it.
If you go to YouTube on drying bowls with the silica gel beads, it's on there, and it'll show you exactly what they are.
I've used kitty litter, unscented kitty litter.
What I use is kitty litter.
Yeah.
Not used kitty litter, like fresh.
Used or new?
It's got to be fresh.
Hey, I got stuff I use for my 3D. It's that damp X or whatever, that Rid X. It's like damp stuff. Comes in like gallons or whatever. So same thing. But I sent you guys links. I emailed them to you, Eddie.
I used to rep when I was doing an outdoor program. I used to rep a product that you would put into an ice chest to absorb the odors and the moisture to kind of clean up a sneaky ice chest. And the guy told me it was volcanic ash. That's all it was, volcanic ash. And he'd made a fortune packaging it and selling it off to people like me.
Yeah, damper it. That's what I got in my 3D plastic stuff to keep it dry. I got them at the orange store.
The orange place, okay, rather than the blue place, right? Okay, anybody else up for show and tell tonight? Pop in, jump up, let's go.
Nobody in chat saying they got something.
Okay. The way we handle it, folks, you put it in chat that we want to look at, you got a piece you want to show, Dane will introduce you, and then I'll spotlight you and you can tell us what you have. Mark, keep up on screen again. Mark, we can't see a photograph, but we have your name.
Let me fix that real quick, Eddie. There we go. Hello, everybody. Hey, I did some turning during the Christmas time, and I was trying to do my first finial, and I had some problems. I started doing the turning. This is almond that I started working with, and I
lost the image again.
We hear you.
You lost
but
my
you're
image
frozen.
again.
Your screen is froze.
Let's go back to it one more time. Now we got you, Mark.
There we go. Hi there. I was trying to turn. This is almond. I don't have any finish on it, and what I was doing is I was trying to turn it on my lathe, but I have a 2-inch live center bearing on the end of it, and I pressed too hard into it when I was trying to, keep it from wobbling, and it blew off the lathe as I was trying to do it. So I didn't get it completed to where I wanted it, but I was trying to do my first long finial, and I now know what I did wrong with it, but it was just because I wedged it apart when I was trying to do it. But
we're going to
you know and you learn.
In the near future, we're going to have a demo on how to do negative tension on a piece when you're doing fine pieces like that. And it does work regardless of the thickness of the size. It'll work for spindles. And a finial is just a thin spindle.
Yeah. Thank you, Eddie. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, guys.
Right. Anybody else up to show something tonight? We can get there.
Captain is Jim Gray in Ridgeway.
It looks like Jim Gray.
I got a couple things. This is for Ronnie mostly. I need you to take notes. This little girl was turned from a 2x4. She fell off the bench and broke her halo, but there you go.
I remember the 2x4 club with that.
So that's a bucket list item. I'm old, and I was worried I was not gonna make the 2x4 club, but I've made it now, I think. And little angel, and I used Mark Soleil. I watched his videos on slicing and practicing, trying to learn to turn that. The other thing that I think it was meeting before last, a gentleman came on and he showed a toothpick holder, and it blew me away. I said, "Now that's simple, but that's neat." So I ended up turning one, and of course the toothpicks come out, and top's got a Coca-Cola knob on it. And, I'm in South Carolina, so this wood is pecan. For the people outside of my area, they use that exotic wood called pecan. We don't have that around here. We just got pecan trees. So that turned out well, and it's finished with OB shine juice. And so I know we're fixing to close. First time I've even got involved, and I've been here since the very first meetings when y'all were in the restaurant, Eddie. I've just enjoyed it so much, learned so much. But I just want to wish everybody a Happy New Year and give you one little piece of wisdom before I sign off, and that is, come Saturday, hindsight will truly be 2020.
Very good.
Yeah, buddy.
Y'all have a great New Year. See you next year.
All right.
Thank you, Jim.
That was all as applause. Good job.
Yeah.
Be safe.
Glenn, talk to us. What do you have
Yeah.
for us?
Yes, I have something to show. A few years ago, I got the idea from Barry Todd, and for your drive center, your spur center, for driving it in, I had got a piece of 3/4 inch pipe nipple, and I welded on a ring that's just a little bit little bigger than the biggest part of your Morse taper, and I put on a cap on the end of the pipe, and that way when you drive your spur center into your wood, you pound on the end, and you mess it up, you can just take it off and replace it, and that way you can hit harder on the to drive the spur center, and you don't damage the end of your Morse taper.
Good idea.
Good tip.
Good idea.
He made me one. It works real well. I got something before we go, Eddie, I can share.
Oh,
And
I spotlighted myself.
I'm right
so
here.
I'm gonna
Okay.
jump. So
You
I
got
made
me,
me
Dane? Oh,
yeah.
Hold on. We're gonna do Dane.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
get you. So I just started playing with threads. So finally made me a threaded box. Let me try and spotlight myself again.
Yeah.
There we go. And so it's just a piece of mesquite, got the grain lined up, got my burn lines in to hide where the seam is at. And it's a left-hand thread, so hard way. And so it's just a simple box with nice little threads on it.
Great job, Dane.
Hey, Dane, what's that you got going on inside the top?
I don't know. Let me look. Oh, I charred it.
Okay.
How
Cool.
did you do that left-handed thread?
Right.
I'm sorry.
How did you do it left-handed threaded?
Is tool upside down?
Turned it the wrong direction?
The opposite of the doing the motion for the right hand threads. And so the reason why I started doing left hand threads because I was in the process of making a trick hidden box for my daughter's boyfriend. So kind of gag thing, I was going to take something of his, put it in there, and then watch him try to open it and not be able to get it out. So yeah, so I started with teaching myself how to do left-hand threads, but I've got the thread doesn't require the arm, the extenders like what you see with the Wyoming wood turner and everything. I used the Mike Tony's thread chaser, and it's very intuitive and very easy to learn. But yeah, anyhow, that was the one item I had to show. And
hey, Dane,
when I was turning the top of the box, you can see there was an inclusion in there, and it's just a solid limb that was in that got overtaken by the wood. Up there. That's kind of neat to turn into and see.
Dane, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
For left-hand threads, you turn it away the opposite way and standing on the other side?
No, it's with the motion of the tool, whether you're pushing towards the headstock or if you're pulling towards yourself.
Okay, so which way is the lathe turning, forward or reverse?
Oh, the lathe is turning like normal.
All right, so you're starting at the headstock and going towards the tailstock.
It is. Damn, I can open it up.
Left-handed thread.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Supposed to be slip off.
We would love to see a demonstration someday if you could.
Well,
Yeah.
I might buy a new tool because I can't get it out. That's crazy. So,
Hit it
so
with
when,
your ear shut.
when you're doing the female threads, you are doing your figure 8 motion. It's almost like a figure 8 motion. You're doing, actually, I got it written down. Hold on. That'll be easier. So if you're making left-hand threads on the female threads, you're cutting them counterclockwise. So that means you're pulling the tool towards yourself. And then on the tenon, which has the male threads, you would be going in the figure 8 motion towards the headstock.
You got me so confused now because I'm thinking you do the same thing with right-hand threads.
No. So when you're doing right-hand threads, the male threads, you're doing you're going counterclockwise and pulling pulling it towards yourself.
I'd really be interested in a
crazy.
demonstration of that.
Yeah. I could do a demo on it.
Okay, he volunteered.
We
Yeah.
heard him.
Right hand thread both go from outside, or the female from outside to inside, and on the male part it goes starts at the outside. So you're doing the opposite of that.
So, not to argue, but in using this tool for making threads, the male goes counterclockwise and the female are cut clockwise. Make right-hand threads.
Well, you can't be using that tool. You can't get out of the box.
Yeah, well, I know that.
Use an air blower to blow it in the edge. It'll blow right out.
What tool is that?
It's Mike
Get
Mahoney.
inside and ask your wife to get it open.
Yeah.
Look, guys, that's why man-made bandsaws. You know what I'm saying? I
So
get
here-
anything open.
So here is the female thread cutter. And here is the male thread cutter. And so this is Carter and Sons, Mike Mahoney's thread chaser that is manufactured by Carter and Sons.
It's a
You
beautiful.
don't even see the Wyoming Woodturner doing left-hand threads.
Yeah, and you don't see Wyoming Woodturner giving up the secrets on the success of being able to make threads because it's all primarily it's with the speed. So the speed of cutting threads to have optimum success is anywhere between 200 and 250 RPMs, or at least for myself, that's where I've had success. Anything faster, you're just gonna cut them off. You're gonna break them off. Anything slower, it doesn't cut correctly.
Isn't your wood choices important too? Like some woods make good threads and some woods don't.
Sure, absolutely. If you listen to everything on the net, it says boxwood. If you want to get good threads, and I'm sure boxwood makes awesome threads, but I've been playing with the mesquite that I have. The wood that I have found thus far that makes the best threads is Wichita. Is a type of pecan, a white pecan that grows out here in Arizona.
I've got some.
Boxwood.
Do what?
I said, have you tried Bodark?
No, we don't have that out here, or at least I don't have access to it.
Okay.
I talked to Sam, the Wyoming Woodturner, last week about this and such, and just on training issues. And he was suggesting that I learn on PVC fittings. So I went and bought a bunch of those Menards yesterday and such. I'm going to try to turn some PVC fittings, but I'm going to also try, and he thought this might be a good idea, is stabilized wood. So pretty much probably stabilize most anything with like cactus juice.
Oh, sure, because it's got resin impregnated in it.
Yeah.
So it would be harder. Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to give that a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. and resins work. You know, I've messed around with some resin sticks, making little pill sticks and resin or hybrid pen blanks. They work great too, from what I can tell.
Do y'all think it would be possible to use a wood hardener, soak your piece in wood hardener? If you wanted to do a softer type of wood, would that?
Well,
that's what the stabilizing with cactus juice would be.
Right. If you plan on stabilizing, otherwise, like I said, I use, you know, my wood of choice out here is mesquite, eucalyptus, and pecan, and those are all over the 2000 Jonka scale. So they're all super hard. They all take a good thread. I've found that the pecan takes the best thread thus far of regular woods that I've worked with.
Well, unless you're in South Carolina, in South Carolina is pecan.
Yeah, but any good dense wood.
One of those exotics again, but yeah.
Well, I mean, oak is a dense wood. That's one of the things that I have access to, but that doesn't make good threads.
No, that's true.
But again, oak is only what, 800-900 on the Jonka scale. It's not that hard.
Okay.
It's very porous. You know, so I'm working with woods that are 1800 and above.
I'll have to find my little chart and find out what woods I got near me that'll do that. Good information.
I've done it on cherry and blackwood. Let's see, I've even done one on ash, but using CA glue in it. But
right.
Well, that knocks me out because I can't do it in pine.
I'll have to try ash. You do it in pine, you say, Ronnie?
No, I said that knocks me out because I can't do it in pine.
Well, you can do big threads in pine.
Might take a lot of CA there.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking the same thing. Get a whole bunch of CA and you can do it.
Right. Not using a thread chaser, using a thread cutter and using the threading tool as opposed to hand chasing, but hand chasing is definitely a good skill.
Where do you all buy your glue?
Do what?
Where do you all buy your CA glue? Because I know I usually get mine from Star Bond, but man, they've gone from like $36 for a 16th-ounce container to like $40, almost $50.
Oh.
Check Amazon.
Check your jewelry stores.
I know there are Amazon stores that sell the Star Bond. I haven't bought it in a while because I buy it in 16-ounce containers too, and I'm not done yet with mine. But.
All right, I'm gonna put a plug in for one of our members.
Mark Soleil
also sells CA glue.
Who?
Mark Soleil.
Put that in the comments, would you?
Okay, he's one of our members. He attends almost every week. And now, when you say CA glue, you're talking about a whole bunch of different kind now. There's not just one type of CA.
Right.
Okay, so.
Correct.
I usually buy just the super thin now, and I get that from Star Bond, but I know that Parfix sells that stuff too. So, yeah, we'll have to look at what Mark Soleil sells.
I bought this stick fast CA glue from Packard the other day. It was pretty cheap, I thought. I don't know if it's as good as the other stuff, but it seems to work okay for me.
What's the viscosity on it, Brent?
How do you tell that? It says CA thin. I don't know.
Okay, well, that's what it's thin. Then it's probably like
it's like
10
water.
Or less. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I'm trying to make when I use the Beal system, when I'm making a large thread item, I'll use BSI, Bob Smith Industries CA, and I use medium CA for them. And then aside from that, it's Parfix that I use. It's either Bob Smith BSI or Parfix 35.
So an option for you too, it may be an option for you when you're looking for CA glue. I get mine at a bead store. That it's the primary reason for the store is for people that make jewelry, and they sell a quality CA glue there. It's the same CA glue if I go to Woodturner Source or any of the wood turning stores. And yeah, so when I buy it off Amazon, it costs me the exact same amount of money as if I buy it from my local bead store. So support the local economy. I buy it here, and but it's a quality CA. So, so I'm just saying, look around in your local area. Instead of looking for wood turning stores, find a bead store or a jewelry store, and you may find it there as well.
All right, cool. Thanks.
Doug, would you put the name of that CA glue on the chat?
What part of IR a redneck don't you understand? That's going to require spelling and all kinds of other things.
I got it.
All right, just show it to us, Doug. Just show
us a picture.
So this is their thin, and then the purple one is the medium. Those are the two that I use the most.
Can't see the brand name. What's it say?
Industries.
Oh, yeah.
Insecure.
Say it again, Dane.
Bob Smith Industry. BSI.
Okay, great.
I just put it in the chat.
Thanks, Dane.
So the jewelry store that I buy mine at, they put their label over the Bob's. So mine says Arizona Gems, but it is literally their bottle and everything, and they put their own sticker over it when they sell it.
I thought you
So they color code it. So what Doug has got there is thin, and
I can find you a medium here. I'm sure I got it somewhere.
Medium is purple, has the purple label.
And how much are y'all paying for a bottle of that?
8 ounces. I want to say $25.
Yeah, there's the purple.
Yep, that's medium.
And then I'm impatient, so I do buy the accelerator.
Yep.
Now, do you also have the bonder close to you that you don't stick yourself to your lathe?
Nope, not at all. My wife's got this thing in the shower called a pummel stone. Well, I call it pummel stone. I think she said the right name's pumice. Whatever. Pummel stone. That takes all the CA glue right off my fingers.
I'm just saying so you don't get stuck to something.
It's just pull harder. It'll come loose.
They got these little socks you can put on your hands. They got 5 fingers and they work great.
And we talked about this a couple of months ago, though. We talked about this, that there's various types of plastic that the CA glue does not stick to, and the food handler gloves, not the regular latex gloves. The CA glue sticks to the latex gloves, no problem. But the food handler gloves, if you can spotlight me, I'll see if I can show them again.
Yeah, you're spotlighted.
Okay. Anyway, I'll show you right quick. So
He's Army. He put it on backwards.
yeah. There you go. So there you go. There's the CA glue.
Maybe he's gonna do left hand.
On there.
He's bloody doing it live.
And it does not stick. If
Okay,
I
now
did that
squeeze
with
all
this
your
thing-
fingers together and push them against each hand.
Okay, I failed. No, I'm kidding. But if I put on a latex glove and did that, it would just stick right together. So
Touch your nose.
With a little accelerator.
yeah, there you go.
Acetone eats CA glue, by the way.
Yeah, acetone nail polish remover.
Yep, it all eats the CA glue.
Sandpaper.
Yeah, but I've never paid the money for the debonder stuff. I'm like, there's enough household products, file, hacksaw blade. You can get your fingers off. I'm kidding.
Plus, what's a full layer? What's a few layers of skin? That stuff grows back, right?
Right.
Yeah. You'll learn right away. If you get glue in your hands, don't stick it in your mouth.
Hey, Doug, clean your camera lens.
But for the gentleman that's getting ready to start threading, just remember speed is your enemy. You want to be slow. I would suggest starting at 200, no more than 250 RPMs if you can get down that low. And whether you're making your female threads or your male threads, remember to make your chamfer. Otherwise, you'll just be cutting wood off. You gotta get that chamfer, and you've got to go at an angle get that first couple of threads going before you start working your way around, getting 90 degrees to the wall for your final threads.
Will do.
Okay, I have to mention this, folks, it's after 9 o'clock Central Time, and I said we'd cut the button off at 9 o'clock. It's about time for us to do that. So
Okay.
with that, I want to thank everybody for being a part of this club in 2020. You're all welcome back next year. We're going to keep going with this. We had great conversations tonight, awesome galleries. We got to look all over Matt's shop. Trey jumped in with a couple of things. We have wonderful wood turners that belong to this group, including you. And we want you to come back. Until next time, I'm Captain Eddie Castellan. I'm going to wish you a very happy new year. And please, above all else, be safe. Thank you.
Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Till next year.
When's
Good
the next?
night.
Happy New Year.
Night.
Happy New Year, everybody. Be
Hey,
safe.
when-
Happy New Year.
Be safe.
Hope to see
Be
y'all
careful,
next year.
everyone. You too, Brenda.